Chapter 173. He had not found a way to bend the saber energy yet, but King Yang Chu was not discouraged. He was still thinking about it. Over the past few days, Jiyu Duxing had been urging the newcomers to the Heavenly Armament Pavilion. It was also in full swing. Every day, everyone was out of breath several times. Mo Qingwu was dancing and cheering them on. Mo Chengyu's injury was also getting better by the day. In the afternoon, Wu Qianqian was sifting through the news. In order to interrupt Minister Chu's silly laughter, she deliberately read out some unimportant news. Minister Chu was like a mountain, he turned a deaf ear. However, when Wu Qianqian read out a very ordinary piece of news, King of Hell Chu suddenly straightened his back. His eyes shot out a frightening divine light. This kind of divine light was unprecedented. It made Wu Qianqian jump in fright. Her heart skipped a beat. At the south gate of the city, two people just came in. One old and one young. Both of them had a noble temperament. The old man was hale and hearty, and the young man was handsome and elegant. He was holding a purple jade flute. The three words purple jade flute made Chu Yang jump up as if he had been electrocuted. In his memory, Mo Tianji was Chang Dong's purple jade flute. He never left his side. First, it was for entertainment. Second, it was also a unique weapon. Plus, that flute had its own mechanism. It was very powerful. This news made Chu Yang think, could it be that Mo Tianji finally came to Ironcloud Citadel? Half a year ago, he still hated this name to the bone. But now, when he heard this name again, he felt complicated and had mixed feelings. First, find out where these two people are. Chu Yang ordered in a hurried tone. What? Wu Qianqian did not expect Chu Yang's reaction to be so intense and strange. She did not know how to react. This old man and the young one with the purple jade flute. Find out where they are as soon as possible. Chu Yang's Dao eyes flashed with an indescribable light. 2 hours later, the sky was already dark. Chu Yang, wearing a green robe, went to the entrance of a tavern called Yu Lai. After asking around, he went up to the second floor and came to a room. He gently knocked on the door. Who is it? A steady voice asked in a very indifferent tone. Blowing through the heavenly lake, only I hold the purple jade flute. Chu Yang said softly, the mysteries of heaven are hard to predict, but the mysteries of heaven can be predicted. The room suddenly became completely silent. After a long time, an elegant voice slowly said, interesting. Please come in. The door opened, revealing an old man's handsome face. He looked at Chu Yang with vigilance. The moment Chu Yang saw this old man, he felt a stabbing pain in his mind. The scene of him being besieged on the wind-thunder platform in the upper three heavens flashed across his mind like lightning. The old man in front of him was one of the 3 king-level experts that had besieged him. You are? The old man asked doubtfully. Friend. Chu Yang smiled and said, Mo Chengyu is with me. Ah. Please come in. The old man's face suddenly turned serious. His eyebrows and the corners of his eyes revealed an unconcealable joy as he moved sideways to make way. Chu Yang took a deep breath and stepped into the door. Inside the door, a young man in white stood straight. His hands were sparkling with a purple light. A purple jade flute quietly flowed with a magnificent luster. His forehead was full and his face was like jade. His eyebrows were long and his eyes were deep like 2 bottomless pools. His whole body was snow-white and his hair was like a waterfall. His face was white and delicate like a girl's. However, it was full of a scholarly aura that revealed his wisdom. There was also a faint sense of fierceness. Chu Yang's heart shook. For a moment, the previous life and the current life seemed to overlap. Then, in an instant, they became mottled and distant. It could be said that Chu Yang was extremely familiar with this face. His best friend in the previous life. His only friend. However, he was the main culprit who caused him to lose his life. Mo Tianji. While Chu Yang was looking at Mo Tianji's deep eyes were also looking at Chu Yang's face. Mo Tianji's eyes faintly carried a hint of intelligence, but he still smiled elegantly and said, Honored guest, please take a seat. How can you say that I'm an honored guest if I don't come by myself? Chu Yang said indifferently. When I first came to the lower 3 heavens, Those who came to find me were either enemies or honored guests. Mo Tianji smiled faintly and said gently, "And you are obviously not my enemy. Why are you so sure that I'm not your enemy?" Chu Yang was aggressive. "If you were my enemy, I would have died without a burial place." Mo Tianji smiled and turned to the table. He took out a small package from the bed and quietly opened it. Then, he picked up the teapot on the table and used his hand to carefully pinch a small handful of tea from the package. He put it into the teapot. Then, he poured boiling water into the teapot and used a white cloth to block the opening of the teapot. He poured the water out and then poured boiling water into the teapot again. He loosened his hand and gently placed the teapot on the table. He said indifferently, "Old Fang, you can leave. I want to say a few words to this friend." When he was doing all this, his expression was focused. Every movement was methodical, but it was also full of rhythm. It did not make people feel the slightest bit annoyed. Instead, it made people feel that his every movement was graceful and moving. It was filled with the aura of nobility. "Second young master," the old man awkwardly called out. He came to see me, and, as soon as he came in, Kuma made a sharp remark to me, but did not speak of business. I was busy with the mad tea, and he was in no hurry. Kuma Jean waited in silence, and this self-possession proved that he was not the sort of man to be impatient, which did not accord with the aggressiveness of his words. After he came in, he only looked at me and asked me. Obviously, he had something to say to me and did not want a third person to hear. Mo Tianji smiled and said, "So, you go out and don't eavesdrop." When he said this, his eyes were flat and his tone was gentle and natural. However, it was filled with a kind of power that could control everything. This was Mo Tianji. Chu Yang praised in his heart. Just by listening to his words and looking at his actions, he knew that this second young master of the Mo clan had far surpassed his peers. Even Jiu Du Xing and Dong Wu Shong, who would be as famous as him in the future, were far inferior to him at this moment. Chu Yang also knew the reason for this point. The current Jiu Du Xing and the others did not have the same experience as Mo Tianji. Therefore, they were not very mature. Moreover, these people were born of concubines. After being deprived of their inheritance rights, they did not have much pressure. However, the current Mo Tianji and his elder brother Mo Tianyun were both born of the main wife. Moreover, they were both equally outstanding. The competition between the two brothers had already reached a climax. The current Mo Tianji was equivalent to being tempered 1,000 times. His every move revealed the demeanor of a great general. The old man nodded and walked out of the room. Only the sound of footsteps could be heard as he went down the stairs. "Please sit. May I know your name?" Mo Tianji still did not raise his head. His right hand covered the teapot and gently shook it. Every shake was filled with a strange rhythm. Chu Yang. Chu Yang slowly walked in and sat opposite him. He sat down with a golden blade and did not treat himself as an outsider. In his previous life, the thing that annoyed him the most was Yan Tianji's indifferent attitude. When he saw him like this, he wanted to grab his scalp and beat him up. He did not expect to see him again today. "Don't be impatient. Let me brew some tea for you," Mo Tianji gently explained. Chu Yang chuckled and quietly looked at the steam rising from the teapot. He also did not say a word. "You are the minister of Bu Tian Pavilion, King Chu, right?" Mo Tianji still did not raise his head. His expression was focused on the teapot. His eyes were filled with profoundness. "I really did not expect the world-famous king of Hell Chu to be so young." "Oh," Chu Yang asked with interest, "how did you know?" "When Brother Chu came in earlier, he said, 'Mo Chengyu is with me.'" Mo Tianji gently smiled and said, "With this sentence, I can determine your identity." "I would like to hear the details." Chu Yang tilted his head and quietly said. What he enjoyed the most was listening to Mo Tianji's analysis of something that did not make sense. Moreover, it was close to the truth. It could be said that Mo Tianji had a great influence on the way he conducted himself and the way he did things since his rebirth. "We were separated by the He Mo clan. The He Mo clan would have cut off the roots. As for my little sister's side, they are the weakest side. My little sister also has the 3 yin meridian. She had great potential. Therefore, the Heimo clan would have chosen to eliminate her first. Mo Tianji casually said, "At that time, if Mo Chengyu wanted to protect my little sister, he would not have been able to do it without paying a great price. Therefore, the best outcome was to escape. When escaping, there is a limit to one's strength. The Heimo clan had many people and powerful martial arts. If no one helped them, they would have been able to escape for a while. But in the end, they would have fallen into the hands of the Heimo clan. If Mo Chengyu was with you, then my little sister must also be with you. If she was not with you, then Mo Chengyu would have been long gone." Mo Tianji smiled and explained without waiting for Chu Yang to ask. Facing the encirclement of the Heimo clan, the only person who could help them at this time must be a powerful person. At least in Ironcloud Citadel, this person must be able to cover the sky with one hand. Mo Tianji calmly said, "Moreover, this person must be extremely intelligent to be able to protect the two of them in an impossible situation. This is because the Heimo clan would not care about your worldly power. Even if you were a powerful person, if you could not come up with a convincing explanation, you would only anger them and cause rivers of blood to flow. Therefore, this person must be extremely intelligent." Chu Yang nodded and said, "That makes sense. In Ironcloud Citadel, there are 3 such people. The first is Tai Bu Tian, the second is Tai Long Cheng, and the third is you, King of Hell Chu." Mo Tianji faintly smiled. Tai Bu Tian and Tai Long Cheng would not cause this kind of trouble. They would not dare to take the risk. Because all of Ironcloud is on their shoulders. Mo Tianji said casually, "But how can you be sure that King of Hell Chu would take the risk?" Chu Yang provoked. Chapter 174. Because the current Bu Tian Pavilion would not be able to do what King of Hell Chu did. Mo Tianji said, "But King of Hell Chu still did it, and he succeeded. This person does not like to take risks, but he has been forced by the situation to take risks. And I just entered the city less than 2 hours ago. When I entered this inn, I did not even have time to open my bag before you came knocking on my door. Tai Butian can also do the same, but he won't take the risk. And you said, blowing through the heavens, only I can control the purple jade flute and heaven's secrets are hard to predict. Heaven's secrets can be predicted. These words show that you know who I am. King of Hell Chu's surname is Chu, and your name is Chu Yang." Mo Tianji casually concluded, "So, you are King of Hell Chu." At this time, the tea in his hand had just finished brewing. Mo Tianji took a teacup from the table and gently pushed it in front of Chu Yang. He gently lifted his wrist and a wisp of green tea slowly poured into the teacup. Steam rose and covered his face. When the teacup was full, he said the last sentence on this topic, with so many clues, "If you are not King of Hell Chu, then I can only say that I, Mo Tianji, am blind. Ha ha ha, you are really amazing." Chu Yang looked at the tea in front of him with interest and asked, "Is this the legendary Tianji tea?" "Not really." Mo Tianji poured a cup for himself and slowly sat down. Tianji tea has Tianji tea scale, Tianji pot, Tianji cup, Tianji water, and Tianji tea. Only Mo Tianji can personally brew tea for it to be Tianji tea. Mo Tianji said apologetically, "But when you are outside, Brother Chu can only drink Tianji tea and Mo Tianji's tea. It cannot be considered a complete Tianji tea." "I see." Chu Yang picked up the teacup and took a sip. He smiled and said, "Actually, I did not taste Mo Tianji's tea." Mo Tianji laughed and said, "As long as Brother Chu is willing, one day, you will taste Mo Tianji's tea." These words clearly meant that as long as Brother Chu was his friend, he would naturally know who Mo Tianji was. "Yes." Chu Yang nodded and said, "But this tea is too expensive. I'm afraid I can't afford it." Mo Tianji thoughtfully looked at him. He remained silent for a while. Then, he asked, "How is my younger sister Xiao Wu?" He had always been very calm, but when he asked this question, a hint of urgency flashed through his eyes. In fact, his eyes were filled with worry. He had not dared to ask and had been using bohai tea to calm his mind. However, even now, when he finally asked, his voice was still unable to calm down. Mo Tianji cared for his younger sister more than an ordinary brother and sister. Moreover, Mo Tianji could faintly smell something ominous from Chu Yang's words. You saved my sister, so why can't you afford to drink my tea? Even if you want to drink it for an entire lifetime, you still have it. But you said that you can't afford it. It's obvious that something's wrong with my sister. Mo Tianji did not say these words out loud, but his heart was very clear. That was why he lost his composure. There's one thing that I'm very puzzled about. Chu Yang drank his tea and casually said, Brother Mo has always been known as a heavenly secret. Your wisdom is outstanding, and your plans are flawless. Very few things can escape your eyes. Brother Mo has shown this ability just now. I firmly believe in Brother Mo's wisdom. But at that time, when you heard that an ancient site had appeared, Brother Mo hurriedly went there. It seemed that you did not suspect that it was a trap. Chu Yang put down the teacup and raised his head with a bang sound. He looked straight into Mo Tianji's sharp eyes. They were like two sharp blades. He coldly said, This is completely inconsistent with Brother Mo's wisdom. It was also because of your carelessness that Xiao Wu fell into a trap and got hurt. I want to hear Brother Mo's explanation for this matter. Mo Tianji suddenly tightened his grip on the teacup. He lowered his head, but Chu Yang could clearly feel a pair of sharp eyes coldly looking at him from behind his black hair. What status do you have to ask me to explain to you? Mo Tianji lowered his head and coldly said. Even if you don't explain, I can guess a thing or two. Could it be that your sister is also a stumbling block to your clan's hegemony? Chu Yang fiercely said, Your sister has always been on good terms with you. Everyone knows this. If something happens to your sister, no one will suspect you, Mo Tianji. Isn't that right? What are you trying to say? Mo Tianji slowly raised his head and looked at Chu Yang. Am I, Mo Tianji, that kind of person? If something happens to your sister, and it's actually so coincidental, right after Mo Tianyun left, Mo Tianyun will definitely not be able to escape suspicion. As long as the clan is angry and blames Mo Tianyun, you will have a chance. And you are also a legitimate son. You have always been on par with Mo Tianyun. At this time, you only need to say one word, and you can replace him. Chu Yang said coldly, losing a biological sister in exchange for a lifetime of being able to dance with the wind and clouds, and wield great power. He slightly leaned forward and got close to Mo Tianji's eyes. He deeply said, Even though you will feel guilty for a lifetime, this transaction can still be done. It's still very worthwhile. Don't you think so? Second young master Mo? Mo Tianji stared at him and breathed heavily. Suddenly, the teacup in his hand shattered. Then, he suddenly slammed the table. With a crashing sound, the entire table turned into wood chips. He angrily said, Chu Yang, don't judge a gentleman's heart with the heart of a petty person. I, Mo Tianji, would rather kill myself than hurt my sister. You know, what do you know? What do you know? You actually dare to judge me like this? You actually. Mo Tianji gritted his teeth and his eyes suddenly became blood red. If it weren't for the fact that you saved my sister, I would have killed you. With a shua sound, the old man who had just left jumped out of the window and asked, Second young master, what's wrong? A pair of eyes full of murderous intent looked at Chu Yang. Get out. Get out. Mo Tianji roared and pointed at the window. The old man hesitated for a moment and finally disappeared with a whoosh sound. What's wrong? Did I say something? Are you angry out of humiliation? Chu Yang looked at him mockingly. His heart felt refresh. In his previous life, Mo Tianji had never lost his composure. Even if all the bones in his body were broken bit by bit, his face would still be elegant and calm. But now, Chu Yang knew that in this world, there was only one person who could make Mo Tianji lose his composure, and that was Mo Qingwu. Mo Tianji's love for this younger sister of his had reached the peak of perfection. So, Chu Yang now used Mo Qingwu to viciously stab him. If not, Mo Tianji would not be able to tell the truth. Because this matter was also the deepest doubt in Chu Yang's heart. Mo Tianji would never have made such a low-level mistake. As for the news that Mo Tianji killed Mo Qingwu to frame Mo Tianyun, it was purely fabricated by Chu Yang to anger Mo Tianji. Others may not understand Mo Tianji's pride, but Chu Yang knew. This person was purely a person who was proud to the end of time. Even if Mo Tianji wanted to succeed, he had to succeed perfectly. Mo Tianji would not want an imperfect success, not to mention using his own sister's death to frame his own brother. Mo Tianji took a few deep breaths and slowly sat down. He asked indifferently, "How is Xiao Wu?" "You speak first," Chu Yang said coldly. Mo Tianji took a deep breath and his emotions miraculously calmed down. He could see from Chu Yang's eyes that if he did not speak, King of Hell Chu would not give in. "In this life, you are the first," Mo Tianji said softly, "to be able to force me to speak the words I did not want to. As expected of King of Hell Chu." "Amazing." Mo Tianji smiled, "You will pay for this debt one day. I have no interest in listening to your nonsense." Chu Yang said indifferently, "Your identity as the second Duke of the Mo clan cannot intimidate me." That day, we arrived at Lianyun mountain range. I heard that there were ruins there, but I did not pay attention. Zhen Tianji's eyes were a little disappointed, but when I saw a piece of purple crystal fragment, I began to believe it. "It is this piece." Mo Tianji took out a piece of purple crystal and placed it on the table. This was found under the bed of the hunter we stayed at. That hunter did not know what this was. At that time, Old Fang felt that there seemed to be energy fluctuations in the room. After searching carefully, he found it in a pile of junk under the bed. When he asked the hunter, he had already forgotten where it came from. He only said that he picked it up from the mountains. Mo Tianji smiled bitterly. Chu Yang held the piece of purple crystal and looked at it. This was a piece of purple crystal that was shaped like a horn. It was very thin and was at most as thick as 2 pieces of paper. Although it had obviously been cleaned by Mo Tianji, there were still some traces of dirt left behind by the years. When I saw it, I did not expect it to be a purple crystal. Mo Tianji smiled. Purple crystal. In this world, purple crystal could be said to be a priceless treasure. The energy it contained could allow people who knew how to extract it to advance their cultivation. Moreover, it was incomparably pure. This secret was only known to a few core members of the big clans. This piece of purple crystal needs to be looked at against a lamp or sunlight. Mo Tianji reminded. Chu Yang lit the oil lamp in the room and placed the purple crystal near the lamp. He looked at it and suddenly his whole body shook. This horn-shaped amethyst chip actually had something else inside it. There was actually a clear picture of a palm. In the center of the palm, there were 4 small words, "Master of the World." Master of the World. Chu Yang's heart shook. These 4 words might not be known to ordinary people, but when one reached a certain level, they would know that these 4 words represented a peerless martial artist. 3,000 years ago, there was a wise man in the Chongtian continent. He started practicing martial arts when he was 20 years old. He started from an ordinary sect, but with his supreme wisdom, he changed his sect's mental cultivation method and rushed to the revered martial artist realm in the lower 3 heavens. After that, he entered the upper 3 heavens and randomly chose a clan to be his disciple. He actually took a different path from the clan's martial arts mental cultivation method and created his own unique martial arts. Just like that, he rose to the top and became the overlord of the upper 3 heavens. Chapter 175. This person's wisdom and comprehension of martial arts were unparalleled in the world. This was publicly acknowledged by everyone who knew of him. Any trash martial arts, as long as it was in his hands, would be able to turn it into something magical. This person's surname was Xiao. Xiao Feng Yun was his name. Even his name was given by himself. It meant laughing at the wind and clouds. Legend has it that his highest achievement was a peak-grade martial monarch, dancing in the sky, laughing at the wind and clouds, controlling the world, the universe in the heart. These words were Xiao Feng Yun's evaluation of himself at that time. In the eyes of this eccentric person, everything in the world was just this. As long as he put his mind to it, everything would be under his control. Even the rise and fall of a dynasty, the changes in the world, he could control it. He could make decisions. The image of a palm on this purple crystal was Xiao Feng Yun's unique symbol. Only such a crazy person would use a palm to represent himself. Everything in the world was under his control. This purple crystal reminded Chu Yang of the purple crystal jade essence on his chest. The handwriting on his purple crystal jade essence was exactly the same as the image on this purple crystal. Meng Chao Ran once said that even a martial monarch with a low level of cultivation would find it difficult to leave words like this. That remnant only appeared after it collapsed. Countless people went to search for it, but they found nothing. Mo Tianji said, "When I saw this purple crystal, I knew that I had been sucked in." Chu Yang finally understood. Seeing such a thing, even if it was him, he would also be attracted to it. For a martial artist, this was definitely a great temptation. On the second day, I left behind 2 gold taels for the hunter and took this purple crystal. Then I went to Lianyun Mountain. Mo Tianji said, 100 taels of gold. That's really cheap. Just this purple crystal alone was worth more than 100 taels of gold. Not to mention, there was such an earth-shattering secret behind it. 100 taels of gold is really too much. I wanted to leave 100 taels of silver for him. Mo Tianji said casually, for such a poor hunter, even 10 taels of gold would be enough to cause his death. But if I took it without telling him, I would feel uneasy. So I left it behind. Chu Yang smiled bitterly. Mo Tianji had this ability. He was always able to see through people's thoughts without them realizing it. Then, he would explain it to them before they even had the time to ask. Talking to him sometimes felt like listening to him talking to himself. As long as he doesn't want you to interrupt, then you won't even have the chance to speak. On the second day, I brought Old Fang, Mo Chengyu, and little sister to the ruins. The ruins are located at the bottom of a cliff, about 1,000 feet deep. It was almost vertical. I was afraid that my little sister would get hurt. Plus, at the bottom of this cliff, I did not know what kind of strange, poisonous beasts were lurking. I was not at ease, so I let Mo Chengyu and my little sister wait at the top. Mo Tianji smiled bitterly. Chu Yang pondered with rapt attention. If it were him, he wouldn't have brought his little sister, who was only 8 years old, to such a dangerous place. It was only after we went down that we discovered that below us was a lake of kerosene. We searched several places, but did not find anything. Right this moment, we heard a person on the other side of the cliff laughed and said, "Moa Xiaoye, why did you come to this kind of dangerous place?" This makes us, the Black Devils, overjoyed. Then, there was a huge fire. The kerosene was dozens of feet thick, but it suddenly caught fire. Brother Chu, you can imagine how difficult it was for me at that time. Mo Tianji smiled bitterly. The entire cliff was on fire. The raging flames reached hundreds of feet into the sky. Although I was very anxious and knew that my little sister must have been ambushed, there was nothing I could do. Mo Tianji took a deep breath. I used my purple crystal jade flute. Old Fang and I took turns to use our strength to create a passage that led straight to the belly of the mountain. However, we only managed to create a passage for a few hundred feet before we ran out of strength. The fire was so big that even the mountain walls were scorched red. What was the use of a few hundred feet? Fortunately, the heavens always leave a way out. At the last moment, we accidentally opened up a path to the cave of martial monarch Xiao Fengyun. That was how we escaped with our lives. When Mo Tianji said this, he spoke very slowly. His eyes quietly looked at Chu Yang's face, not letting go of any slight expression on his face. The remains of a martial lord. In the Double Heaven continent, no matter who it was an enormous temptation. No one would be able to remain indifferent when they suddenly heard such news. If Chu Yang showed a bit of greed now, Mo Tianji would immediately change his attitude towards him. "Stop!" Chu Yang shouted, "I am not interested in what you got. No matter what you got, it has nothing to do with me." Mo Tianji's eyes flashed strangely and he asked, "Why?" "This kind of martial monarch level treasure is sought after like a flock of ducks. Are you not curious at all? I have my own martial techniques and my own path." Chu Yang said indifferently, "I only want to walk my own path. I don't want a fork in my path. Even if it is a supreme martial artist's legacy, it is still a fork in the road for me." Mo Tianji's eyes shone brightly. He carefully looked at Chu Yang for a while and said, Brother Chu is indeed amazing. He thought for a while and said thoughtfully, Brother Chu, your way of doing things is similar to mine. Chu Yang thought carefully for a while and answered seriously. Then you should also know why this purple crystal chip is so attractive to me. Mo Tianji sighed softly. Even if it is a supreme martial artist's legacy, it may not make me, Mo Tianji, greedy. But this remains, I must have it. Chu Yang completely understood. In Mo Tianji's life, although he had a top-level cultivation, he did not personally fight many times. He was used to using his intelligence to solve problems. His habit was to not fight if he could. He liked to control. On this point, he had some similarities with Diwu Qingru. And this martial monarch-level expert, Xiao Fengyun, who left behind the remains, happened to be this kind of person. His controlling the world was actually a special type of cultivation that belonged to intelligence. This kind of thing was the most attractive thing in the world to Mo Tianji. The Hei Mo Bia Jiao was lying in ambush there at that time. Mo Tianji said slowly, they were only lying in ambush on top of the cliff. Or, they were following us. I went deep into the cliff and gave them a golden opportunity. At the bottom of the cliff, there was a lake of kerosene. Even more so. Haha, this matter, or should I say, is a coincidence. When Mo Tianji said this, his tone was calm, but Chu Yang could clearly hear the helplessness in his tone. There was a hint of coldness in his calm tone. My little sister, how is she? Mo Tianji asked this question for the third time. At this point, the matter had been explained clearly. There was no need to ask anymore. Although Mo Tianji did not know why King of Hell Chu was so obsessed with this matter, he could feel that if he did not explain clearly, Chu Yang would definitely not tell him about his little sister. She was slashed here by the Black Demon Sword King. Chu Yang extended a finger and pointed at his chest, stopping there. Mo Tianji's face immediately turned pale. He fell powerlessly on the chair and muttered, her 3 yin meridians are destroyed. His little sister did not die. This was already confirmed. If she was injured normally, Chu Yang would not point out the specific location. And this location was the cold yin meridians for a girl. And Mo Qing Wu's location was even more crucial. It was the intersection of her 3 yin meridians. Yes. Chu Yang said calmly. Mo Tianji clenched his fists tightly. Then, he loosened them. Then, he clenched them again. His pale face gradually turned purple. He said in a low voice, I won't let you off. Who? Chu Yang was shocked and asked. Mo Tianji raised his head and closed his eyes. After a while, he said, Brother Chu, this matter has nothing to do with you. I will immediately take my little sister and return for 3 days. After returning? Chu Yang asked. After returning, I will do my best to protect my little sister. Mo Tianji's eyes flashed with a trace of pain. Can you protect her? Chu Yang sneered, Mo Tianji, you are only the second prince. Can you protect her if she stays here? Mo Tianji snorted and asked. Chu Yang's words undoubtedly touched Mo Tianji's sore spot. But Mo Tianji's expression did not change. He quietly asked a rhetorical question, which also made Chu Yang unable to resist. Chu Yang was silent. Both of them knew what the other was worried about, but neither of them said anything. They kept pushing back and forth like a riddle. I like her very much. Chu Yang took a deep breath and said, I don't want her to receive some unfair treatment when she returns to the clan. What kind of like are you referring to? Mo Tianji's eyes suddenly became frighteningly sharp. They were like 2 sharp swords that directly pierced Chu Yang's heart. If I say, the love between a man and a woman, what would you think? Would you believe me? Chu Yang smiled quietly. Haha. Mo Tianji laughed out loud. He shook his head and said, Brother Chu, your words aren't funny at all. Mo Tianji hadn't been amused by someone for a long time. But, he couldn't bear it this time. Because this time, the person who said this sentence was King of Hell Chu. Is it really that funny? Chu Yang was depressed. Okay, I will not discuss this with you. Mo Tianji tried hard to control himself, but he still felt that he could not control himself. After a long time, he solemnly said, Where is Xiao Wu now? Take me there. There is one more thing. I think it is better to tell you. Chu Yang said. What is it? I think I can cure Xiao Wu's 3 yin meridians. Chu Yang said somewhat hesitantly, no. I can't do it for now. I need time, or a year, or 2 years. Brother Chu is a doctor. Mo Tianji was startled. Cough, cough, no. Ha ha ha. I am grateful for Brother Chu's kind intentions. When I return to the clan, I will certainly pass on Brother Chu's words to my father. Mo Tianji sighed softly. His words clearly meant that he did not believe Chu Yang's words. Chapter 176. When Chu Yang and Mo Tianji walked out of the inn, the sky was already dark and the moon had yet to rise. Chu Yang looked at the dark night and suddenly had a feeling in his heart. Did Mo Tianji in my previous life slowly transform into the master of calculation and manipulation Mo Tianji after obtaining this controlling the world? In the Heavenly Armament Pavilion, the 5 youths were practicing martial arts. Today, there was an obvious difference in the mental appearance of the 5 people. All of them looked like they had excess energy. Over the past few days, everyone had become addicted to looking for abuse. Breaking through their limits 3 times a day had become a must-have. Every day, they would gather together to fight and perfect their own martial arts problems. Everyone felt that they had benefited greatly. With this kind of enthusiasm, even though the 1-month deadline had not even passed yet, everyone felt that they would definitely be able to break through it. In this way, everyone couldn't help but feel a little intoxicated. 1 level in 1 month, 2 levels in 2 months. If this was the case, wouldn't they be Emperor level in 4 to 5 years? In 10 years, they would be Supreme level. When they thought of this beautiful future, everyone felt as if they had taken an aphrodisiac. In such an excited mood, Jimo couldn't hold back the ecstasy in his heart. He called Luo Ku Di out for a spa and then beat Luo Ku Di up in the name of a spa to vent the ecstasy in his heart. Luo Ku Di found Rui Biyu Tong with a bloody nose and a swollen face and beat Rui Biyu Tong up. Dong Wushong excitedly went to challenge Jiyu Duxing, and was ruthlessly beaten up by Jiyu Duxing. So, in order to vent his anger, Dong Wushong grabbed Jimo and gave him a good beating. Rui Biyu Tong was the weakest among them and had nowhere to vent his anger. At night, when Luo Ku Di was asleep, he covered him with a sack and dragged him out to beat him up like a pig. Thus, from that night onwards, the War of the 5 Nations officially kicked off. Every day was as miserable as a slaughterhouse. Jiyu Duxing improved the fastest and was the most powerful among them. He was fully deserving of being the boss and was also the one who rarely got injured. However, the other 4 were bruised and swollen almost every day. The worst thing was that Chu Yang would be humbly invited out by Jimo and the others whenever he went back during this period. Boss, I hope you can give me some advice. I feel that this place is very negligent. Then, he gave his boss a stern warning. Luo Ku Di also imitated Chu Yang's example, and came over to compare notes with Chu Yang's leg techniques. Dong Wushang was more restrained in his attacks because he had a favor to ask. If he wanted this saber, he had to rely on Chu Yang, so he didn't dare to be presumptuous. As for Rui Biyu Dan, he was now completely trapped in Jiyu Duxing's special shaving. Chu Yang remembered all these in his heart. He looked at Jimo and Luo Ku Di with a meaningful look in their eyes. Damn it. Did you enjoy beating me up during this period of time? You'll be begging me in the future. At that time, if I don't teach you a lesson, I won't be surnamed Chu. These days, Mo Qingwu was also the happiest person. Every day, there were so many big brothers playing with her, and all of them were envious of her saber. Little Luo's vanity was greatly satisfied. So every day, she squinted her beautiful eyes and squatted at the door, watching the big brothers fight like monkeys. From time to time, she would jump up and cheer. As for Mo Chengyu, his injuries were getting better. He had already recovered half of his martial power, but his face was also getting uglier. That night, after finishing their homework for the day, it was Luo Kedi's turn to cook. While everyone angrily cursed the food, after finishing their meal, they worked together to give Luo Kedi a good beating. Rui Biyu Tong used a lot of strength. While they were messing around, Jiyu Duxing suddenly raised his eyebrows and said, "Someone is coming." Following his words, the 4 of them immediately dispersed and smoothed out the messy ground. In the next moment, They were sitting by the stone table and drinking tea in a very comfortable manner. 17351, edited by Lifer, Fingerfox. Each of them was talking and laughing, graceful and at ease. They did not look like people who had just beaten up a bunch of pigs. The door opened. A man in black and a man in white appeared at the same time. Behind them was an old man. Jiyu Duxing and the others all looked over at the same time. In the next moment, everyone had different reactions. The man in black was naturally Chu Yang, but the man in white was handsome and tall. His clothes were as white as snow, and his body was tall and straight. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. His every movement was full of grace and elegance. His eyes were gentle and calm, as deep as the cold autumn lake. Second brother, Mo Ching Wu shouted happily. Like a swallow, she flew over and threw herself into the arms of the man in white. The man in white was also very excited. Little sister, little Wu. I missed you so much. Come, let your second brother see, you've lost weight. Mo Tianji, who saw his sister, completely lost his elegance and calmness. He was so happy that he laughed heartily. His whole body was filled with warmth and happiness, and his eyes were full of love for Chu Wan. He was used to it. Mo Tianji, Jiyu Duxing and the others exclaimed at the same time. Other than Ji Mo, everyone had a deep sense of fear in their eyes. The five of them were all geniuses of the big clans in the three heavens. Even in the whole of the three heavens, they were outstanding rising stars. But now, even Jiyu Duxing and Dong Wushang, who would be as famous as Mo Tianji in the future, felt inferior in front of Mo Tianji, because the current Mo Tianji was already well versed in martial arts and could hold his own. This was what the others lacked the most. Luo Kudi's clan and Mo Tianji's clan were enemies. Naturally, they knew how powerful Mo Tianji was. It could be said that among the younger generation of the Mo clan, Mo Tianji was the biggest threat. Far more than his big brother Mo Tianyun. The current Mo Tianji did not have the nickname Master of Calculation and Manipulation. But among the younger generation, other than the evil duke who appeared and disappeared mysteriously, Mo Tianji was already firmly in the first place. It's so lively here. Mo Tianji's face revealed a gentle smile. Deep in his eyes, there was a trace of sadness and anger. The moment he carried his little sister, he began to use his energy to detect. His little sister's 3 yin meridians were not damaged. They were completely destroyed. Mo Tianji was incomparably angry at this fact. At the same time, when he saw these people again, Mo Tianji was also shocked. Why were there so many familiar faces gathered here? None of them could be underestimated. Lively. Mo Tianji, do you want to stay and join us in the fun? Luo Kudi crossed his arms and said in a strange tone. No, in our generation, it's enough to have brother Jiyu and brother Dong with you. Ji Mo is even more unnecessary. As for me, it's better not to participate. Mo Tianji smiled warmly and said, Luo Kudi, compared to you, I'm old. Luo Kudi was so angry that his nose became crooked. Mo Tianji's words were clearly isolating Chu Yang. He had elevated Jiyu Duxing and Dong Wushang, who were the most difficult to deal with, to the same height as himself in the first sentence. Ji Mo was his cousin, and Rui Biu Tong was Jiyu Duxing's best friend. Moreover, he was only targeting himself. Obviously, he was saying that he did not deserve to be with them. As for the last sentence, I'm old. It made him so angry that his eyes turned black. Mo Tianji, you don't go too far. Luo Kudi immediately flew into a rage. Young people need to have self-restraint. Mo Tianji said gently, otherwise, how can you live in peace? Luo Gong, when you go home and see your brother, please send my regards. When you see your father, please also send my regards. And your parents and ancestors, I've heard a lot about them. Luo Kudi let out a strange cry and rushed over with a whoosh. Luo Kudi's elder brother, Luo Kuwu, had once been ambushed by Mo Tianji, and had almost lost his life. His father, the clan lord of the Luo clan, Luo Chengtian, had also been schemed against by Mo Tianji, and had almost vomited blood in anger. Mo Tianji had said this in order to raise his own status, and to suppress Luo Ku Di further. How could Luo Ku Di bear this? Little wolf. Ji Mo was shocked and hurriedly hugged him. Mo Tianji rarely spoke like this. Although he was smiling elegantly and gently at this moment, it was clear that his heart was in a frenzy. As his cousin, how could Ji Mo not understand his elder cousin's habits? If Luo Ku Di really rushed over, then a corpse would appear on the ground in the next moment. Luo Ku Di, are you hopelessly stupid? Chu Yang roared angrily. 2 king-level masters of the Mo clan are here, and you want to attack the 2 elders of the Mo clan? Chu Yang really had to hand it to this brainless guy. 2 king-level masters were eyeing you covetously. How could you hurt Mo Tianji? Mo Tianji was in a frenzy and had nowhere to vent his anger. Therefore, he deliberately provoked your anger. If you really went up, would you have a good time? Although Chu Yang's words were very impolite, it really woke up the raging Luo Ku Di. Looking at Mo Tianji's warm face, he couldn't help but shiver. This guy was too insidious. He snorted angrily and turned his head away, no longer speaking. Brother Chu, I want to talk with you again. Mo Tianji looked at Chu Yang calmly and said indifferently. Okay. At the inn, I treated you to tea. Now, I will treat you to wine. Mo Tianji smiled and said, please. Jiu Du Xing and Dong Wu Shong looked at each other and saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. Heavenly GT and Heavenly G wine were Mo Tianji's original creations. Only people whom Mo Tianji approved of and valued highly would have the honor of being treated by Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji once said, ordinary people, who can drink my Heavenly GT? Chapter 177. The 2 of them walked side by side to the lakeside. Mo Tianji took out a small bottle of wine and said, Tianji wine is brewed by me. It can't be compared to the good wine and delicacies that Brother Chu often drinks, but it is my most sincere gift. Thank you. Chu Yang rolled his eyes. In his previous life, I drank your Tianji wine in jars. Today, you only took out a little bit and you still act like you are pained. Xiao Wu is my little sister. Mo Tianji slowly sat down and looked at the lake. He slowly said, when Xiao Wu was born, mother was in poor health and couldn't get out of bed. Those years were the most important period of the Mo clan's development. There were internal and external troubles. Father was also very busy. At that time, Big Brother was already able to help, so I coaxed her every day, played with her, and told her stories. Brother Chu, did you know that my little sister, the first sentence she learned in her life, the first time she learned to call someone, was second brother? Mo Tianji's face showed a warm smile. He was satisfied and proud. Every time I hear Xiao Wu call me second brother with a sweet voice, I feel proud and happy. Mother was sick for 3 years. And Xiao Wu, in these 3 years, almost never left my side. Xiao Wu, she's my treasure. When Xiao Wu was 3 years old, she showed a talent for martial arts. The clan identified that Xiao Wu had the rare 3-yin meridian. She was a genius, a genius. Mo Tianji's face showed a look of reminiscence. He smiled and shook his head. That year, I was 13 years old. I drank for the first time in my life. I was so happy that I got drunk, and I was beaten by my father. A genius with the 3-yin meridian proves that Xiao Wu's life will not be ordinary. Moreover, even when she grows up and has marriage problems, the clan will try to respect her wishes. That way, she will be able to find a satisfactory home. Mo Tianji smiled and said, you know, in a big clan like ours, it is very difficult for a girl to find a happy home that she is willing to return to. In this life, Xiao Wu will not be troubled by love. For a girl, this is the greatest happiness. I sincerely hope that my sister can obtain her Leduo's happiness and become the happiest bride in the heavenly layer continent. I've even decided that on the day my sister gets married, I, Mo Tianji, will do my best to send out invitations to the entire heavenly layer. I want everyone in the heavenly layer to attend my sister's wedding. Everyone must give my sister their blessings. All the happiness in the world will be given to my sister. Give them all to Xiao Wu. Mo Tianji's voice was very low, but it was as if he was shouting with his soul. Kai Kai was talking about his life's Leduo, but it turned out to be his own sister. Moreover, It seemed so powerless to say it at this time. Chu Yang was moved. Mo Tianji's love for Mo Qingwu was within his expectations, but he didn't expect it to be to this extent. This pair of siblings had a deep relationship that was beyond anyone's imagination. No wonder in my previous life, Mo Tianji wanted to kill me even though we were very close friend. Because in this master of calculation and manipulation's heart, the whole world isn't as important as his little sister. No wonder Mo Tianji sent out 3 king-level experts to deal with me. Because Mo Tianji's strength at that time was only enough to send out these high-level experts. As for those people before, I'm afraid Mo Tianji deliberately spread the news to let those people die with me. Does this count as the last time he did his brother's duty? After all, 1 king-level expert is enough to deal with me. Why would so many people die first? Chu Yang's mouth revealed a bitter smile. The past is the past. All these are just guesses. Brother Chu, do you understand my feelings now? Mo Tianji said slowly, 3 yin meridian. 3 yin meridian. The Hei Mo people really deserve to die. They destroyed my little sister's 3 yin meridian. They are so vicious. Once 3 yin meridian is destroyed, it means that my little sister's whole life has been destroyed by them. Mo Tianji deeply lowered his head. The Mo clan attaches great importance to aptitude and strength. It attaches great importance to the clan. Outsiders will never be able to imagine the cruelty of this. Once the clan finds out about this, Xiao Wu's original position will definitely be lost. And now, my words carry no weight in the clan. My big brother will definitely hit you when you are down. Mo Tianji said these words through gritted teeth. Brother Chu, I am powerless. Mo Tianji slowly raised his head. His eyes fixed on the sky as he murmured, you know, right now I am praying. If the heavens can restore my little sister's 3 yin meridian, even if I, Mo Tianji, die now, I will do it without hesitation. I will die without hesitation. I really want to. I really want to keep little Wu with you. I can see that you like her a lot. You can't fake it at all. Mo Tianji said painfully, unfortunately, you're too weak right now. Mo Tianji was talking and Chu Yang was listening. He did not say a word, but his eyes were shining in the night sky. Tomorrow morning, I will take Xiao Wu back to the clan. Mo Tianji took a deep breath and exhaled. Brother Chu, thank you. You saving Xiao Wu is saving me, Mo Tianji. I haven't said these words yet. But, I, Mo Tianji, can give you a promise now. As long as Brother Chu has any difficulties, just say the word, and I, Mo Tianji, will mobilize the greatest power I can to help you. Mo Tianji said softly. Promises are the most binding things. They bind the heart and conscience. In my life, I, Mo Tianji, have never made any promises to anyone, not even to my wife. My promise to Brother Chu will be the only promise I, Mo Tianji, will make in my life. Chu Yang was silent for a long time. Suddenly, he said, Brother Mo, do you believe me? As long as you say it, I will believe it. Mo Tianji laughed. Brother Mo has made a promise to me, and I, Chu Yang, will also make a promise to Brother Mo. Chu Yang took a deep breath and said, I will definitely heal Xiao Wu's injury. I can't guarantee how long it will take. Maybe a few months or a year or 2. Mo Tianji stared at him for a long time. Then, he smiled and said, I believe you. So, I need you to protect Bo Wu during this period of time when I don't have the ability to cure her. Chu Yang said solemnly, this is also my only request. Mo Tianji frowned. He stood up and paced back and forth a few times. Then, he let out a deep breath and said, Brother Chu, I won't hide it from you. If Xiao Wu stays in the clan like before, I can't do it. Even my father can't do it. No one can doubt my feelings for Xiao Wu. But this is a huge benefit for the clan. Right now, I don't have that ability. Mo Tianji's face was full of pain. I can only promise that after Xiao Wu loses her original position, I will protect her. But I can't keep her position. Don't force me to go to war with your Mo clan. Chu Yang said indifferently, if I know that Xiao Wu has been wronged, your Mo clan must give me an explanation. Brother Chu, what status do you have to say this? Mo Tianji shook his head and smiled bitterly. Although I know that you like Xiao Wu, your words are too childish. Chu Yang smiled faintly. He thought, Mo Tianji, you can do anything for Qing Wu, but your feelings are not as good as mine. Thinking about this, Chu Yang felt a little proud. From Mo Tianji's words, he could tell that a conflict between him and the Mo clan was inevitable. Now, Chu Yang only hoped that the Mo clan would not go too far. He stood up and took the bottle of Tianji wine that Mo Tianji handed to him. He pulled out the cork and drank it all in one gulp. Then, he raised his hand and the small wine flask fell into the lake, creating faint ripples. Chu Yang only felt that his heart was at ease. Because of Mo Tianji's words, Chu Yang had untied a deep-rooted knot in his heart. In his previous life, he died because of Mo Tianji's scheme. Chu Yang had always thought that he was betrayed by his best friend. Chu Yang valued his friends very much. Because he did not have many friends. Mo Tianji was the only one, so, he could not tolerate Mo Tianji's betrayal. But now, he did not blame him. Mo Tianji was someone who could give up his life for Mo Qing Wu. Moreover, he was Mo Qing Wu's brother. Now that Mo Tianji killed his sister, he came to take revenge. Of course. Chu Yang was even certain that if Mo Tianji in his previous life had asked him to commit suicide to atone for his sins after knowing the truth, he would have cut his own throat without any hesitation. When the two returned from the lake, Mo Tianji had already regained his composure. Mo Tianji would never lose his composure in front of so many people. Mo Chengyu lowered his head and walked over with a bit of hesitation. When we get back, I will deal with you. Mo Tianji said coldly, Mo Chengyu, you are very competent. You protected the little miss well. Very well. Mo Chengyu's face was pale and full of guilt. Second brother, come and see. This is the saber that brother Chu Yang gave me. Mo Qing Wu happily held the dreaming of a gentle dance saber and ran over with her short legs. Since she had something good, she naturally had to show it off in front of her family. Chu Yang gave you a saber? Mo Tianji looked at Chu Yang questioningly. He took the saber and weighed it in his hand. His eyebrows furrowed. So light? Suddenly, his eyes flashed and he looked up at Chu Yang. Red cloud steel? How did you know? Jiyu Duxing was not convinced. When they saw the saber, they did not immediately recognize it. But Mo Tianji did not even pull out the saber. He just looked at the broken scabbard and guessed it. Was his brain really that good? Is it that difficult? Such a light saber, it is obviously not made of wood. With brother Chu Yang's love for Xiao Wu, he must have given her something extraordinary. Mo Tianji said casually, as for ordinary treasures, Xiao Wu was born in the Mo clan. What good things have she not seen? It is rare to see something that she likes so much. Shan Wu likes red. Most importantly, when Xiao Wu ran over with the saber, brother Dong's eyes flashed with envy. Mo Tianji said, a saber that could make the two elders of the Black Saber clan jealous, a saber that Xiao Wu likes, a saber that Chu Yang gave to Xiao Wu, such a light saber. Mo Tianji smiled at Jiyu Duxing, brother Jiyu? Chapter 178. Just by guessing, Mo Tianji guessed the origin of this saber. Everyone was dumbfounded, admiring his wisdom. Seeing everyone's expression, Mo Qing Wu was very proud. She wrinkled her nose and said, my second brother is the best. Little brat. Mo Tianji laughed. With a clang, a red light flashed and dreaming of a Qing Wu saber was unsheathed. The night sky was suddenly filled with a gorgeous scene. The dancing starlight actually reflected the dazzling starlight in the nearby lake. The scene was magnificent and incomparable. Good saber. Mo Tianji carefully examined the saber. His eyes flashed, it even has star iron. Then, he saw the words Chu Yang carved on it. At this moment, Mo Tianji's eyes suddenly shrank. He looked at Chu Yang with a very different gaze. His expression was dignified, full of probing and cautiousness. He hugged the saber and bowed deeply. Chu Gui, many thanks. I, Mo Tianji, will remember your kindness. I will never forget it. When others saw this saber, they saw it as a treasured saber. But when Mo Tianji saw this saber, he saw Chu Yang's kindness. Brother Mo is too polite. This saber is just a token of my kindness. Of course, It has a deeper meaning. Not everyone is worth my effort. Chu Yang said bluntly, Brother Mo, it's enough. Besides, I got this by accident. Now that I'm giving it to Xiao Wu, it's perfect. Chu Yang smiled. Got it by accident. Mo Tianji laughed, it's really a coincidence. This saber seems to be a gift from the heavens to my little sister. Yes. Chu Yang's eyes flashed and met Mo Tianji's eyes. Both of them smiled at the same time. Mo Tianji straightened up and said with a relaxed expression, with this saber, maybe. He didn't continue, but his eyes were full of gratitude. Mo Tianji understood that this was Chu Yang's preparation for Mo Qingwu's return to the clan. He used a peerless saber that could cut through everything, but such a saber was accompanied by a love that was not inferior to his own. Mo Tianji had met Chu Yang by chance, but Chu Yang had saved his younger sister. So, Mo Tianji clearly felt that this affection was very heavy. Mo Tianji didn't like owing people anything. But, he couldn't not owe Chu Yang a favor. He had no choice but to owe him. Brother Chu, I heard that Bu Tian Pavilion and Golden Horse Riders Department are in constant conflict. Mo Tianji thought for a while and said, but right now, your Bu Tian Pavilion is too weak. No need. Chu Yang didn't wait for him to finish speaking. Chu Yang had already interrupted him. He insipidly said, I will make use of the world's people, and I will also deceive the world's people. But, I, Chu Yang, will not make use of my own sincerity. You just need to send Xiao Wu back safely. As for me, Chu Yang took a deep breath and said, I can't rely on you till the end, right? Mo Tianji smiled appreciatively and said, if that's the case, I will tell Brother Chu a story. He paused for a while and said softly, legend has it that 1,000 years ago, there was a sex fiend who ran amok in the world. He was lustful. Who knows how many good girls were ruined by him? Who knows how many good families were destroyed because of him? Everyone hated him to the bone. But this sex fiend's cultivation was very high. He was already at the level of an emperor-level master. Plus, his movement was so fast that even monarch-level masters would have a hard time catching up to him. That day, a young martial master was getting married. But, he met this sex fiend. The bride was very beautiful, and the sex fiend saw her. The bride didn't know any martial arts, so she was taken away by the sex fiend. She was taken to a cave, and it seemed like she would lose her virginity. But, the bride was very knowledgeable. She saw a fragrant flower on the side of the cave. She said, if you put that flower on my head and have a good drink with me, I will be your bride today. The sex fiend was very happy. What kind of tricks could a weak girl play? So, he bought some wine and personally put the flower on the bride's head. The bride wasn't good at drinking, so she used tea in place of wine. After drinking, the sex fiend found that he couldn't move at all. He was strangled to death by a weak bride with his own belt. An emperor-level master died in the hands of a weak girl who couldn't even truss a chicken. It became the biggest joke in the world. The sex fiend also knew that flower. It was called 1,000 Miles Incense. But, he didn't know that once the 1,000 Miles Incense leaves the ground, the juice of the broken stem will mix with the smell of wine. When it enters the meridians, it will become a special kind of bone-crisp incense. Even a martial saint couldn't escape the fate of going limp. Later, this bone-crisp incense was given a name. It was called Supreme Crisp, which once shocked the entire heavenly layer. It was the best enchanting incense in the heavenly layer. For thousands of years, it was the best enchanting incense in the heavenly layer. This story may be false, but it tells us that no one can be belittled. As long as the method is right, even an ordinary person can kill a supreme martial artist. The key is your wisdom. Can you think of a way? However, there were plenty of ways to do so. Mo Tianji said, Brother Chu, that's why I've always advocated wisdom and not strength. Chu Yang was silent. The next morning, the morning fog was still drifting, and the world was hazy. When Mo Tianji walked out holding Mo Qingwu's little hand, it seemed that the surroundings were silent. Xiao Wu, we're leaving. Mo Tianji sighed and said softly, You're leaving? Mo Qingwu opened her big round eyes and said reluctantly, I haven't told Brother Chu Yang, but, if your brother Chu Yang sees you, he will feel bad. Mo Tianji said gently, Xiao Wu also cries. Xiao Wu doesn't look good when she cries. Brother Chu Yang likes you so much, you definitely don't want him to see you look bad, right? Mo Qingwu's tears were about to flow out, but Jiao Kuei bit her lips tightly and nodded vigorously. Yes, I will let big brother Chu Yang see me crying. Although she said that, her eyes were already red and her voice was choked with sobs. Let's go. Mo Tianji said slowly, Xiao Wu has to grow up well. When your brother Chu Yang comes to our house, we have to treat him well. Mo Qingwu finally couldn't help but cry. Her little body stood stubbornly at the door and looked at Chu Yang's closed door without blinking. Brother Chu Yang, Xiao Wu is leaving. Xiao Wu will miss you. You have to miss me too, Xiao Wu is leaving. Brother Chu Yang, don't cry. Mo Tianji held his sister's hand and walked out of the door step by step. With every step, Mo Qingwu stopped and turned her head, looking hopefully at Chu Yang's door. Her thin teeth had already bitten deeply into her small red lips, leaving a row of teeth marks. She looked back 3 times with every step. When they finally reached the gate of the courtyard, Mo Qingwu suddenly broke free from Mo Tianji's hand. She turned around and ran 2 steps back. Then, she stopped and looked at the courtyard in a daze. Suddenly, she shouted, Brother Chu Yang, don't forget about me. Brother Chu Yang, you can't not miss me. Brother Chu Yang, you can't tell others stories. Brother Chu Yang, I can't bear to leave you. The room was silent. It was as if Chu Yang had already fallen asleep and couldn't hear anything. Mo Qingwu suddenly squatted on the ground and cried. Mo Tianji looked at his sister and sighed. Angry, he walked back to hold her hand. Mo Qingwu struggled fiercely and only stared at Chu Yang's door in a daze. Her movements were too big. A small bow on Mo Qingwu's head fell to the ground. Mo Tianji looked and sighed. He didn't pick it up. After a long time, Mo Qingwu slowly turned around and placed her small hand in her brother's. She turned her head and looked back with longing. She looked around and said in a low voice, Second brother, let's go. Yes. After walking out of the courtyard for a long time, Mo Qingwu finally turned around and suddenly burst into tears. Mo Tianji's white robe was as white as snow. He quietly turned around and waved his hand at a certain direction in the courtyard. 3 big and 1 small human medicine, under Mo Qingwu's heart-wrenching cries, finally disappeared into the morning fog. Heavenly Armament Pavilion was still silent. Behind the willow tree by the lake, Chu Yang's figure slowly appeared. His body was already completely wet from the night dew. His hair was also sparkling with snow. His face was very sad and his eyes were very empty. He walked over step by step and squatted down. He picked up the bow on Mo Qingwu's head and put it near his nose. He took a deep breath and a trace of loneliness appeared in his eyes. He reached out and gently touched a small piece of dark soil on the ground. This was Qingwu's tear. Chu Yang's heart suddenly became empty. He stood up and looked in the direction of the courtyard door. There seemed to be a voice still calling out. Brother Chu Yang, you can't forget me. Brother Chu Yang, you can't not miss me. Brother Chu Yang, you can't tell other people stories. Brother Chu Yang, I can't bear to leave you. Chu Yang smiled slightly. Qingwu, when I see you again, I wonder what you will be like. Would she become that fluttering red-clothed girl, the Qingwu of my dreams? When you go back this time, you must hold on. You must be strong. Do you know how much happiness and hope you've given me in these past few days? Qingwu, it won't be long before I kill my way up to the upper 3 heavens to find you. This morning, Jiyu Duxing, Ji Mo, and the others were very unusual. Everyone was quietly hiding in their own rooms. The entire Heavenly Armament Pavilion was as quiet as a ghost town. There was no movement at all. Chu Yang's hair fluttered in the morning breeze. He quietly stood at the courtyard door. Suddenly, a sweet voice echoed in his heart. Brother Chu Yang, can I be your fiancé? Okay. Chu Yang couldn't help but say it. Vaguely, a graceful figure in red appeared in his mind. She looked at him with infatuation. She reached out her hand and gently called out, Chu Yang. Chu Yang, Qingwu. Chu Yang's heart was in pain again. It was as if his heart was being torn apart and bleeding. He slowly sat down and murmured, Mo Tianji, don't disappoint. my expectations. With Mo Tianji's style of doing things, Chu Yang knew that he would definitely leave without saying goodbye. Because leaving without saying goodbye would reduce Mo Qingwu's sorrow to the greatest extent. If they were to leave face to face, Mo Qingwu would probably cry her heart out. Moreover, Chu Yang didn't know how he would react if that happened. Mo Tianji quietly left with Mo Qingwu. Chu Yang couldn't help but feel resentful, but he also felt grateful. Chapter 179. It was also on this night that Diwu Qingru dismissed all the servants in the great Zhao Prime Minister's manor. He stood alone in the pavilion, wearing a white linen robe. His hands were clasped behind his back as he looked at the night sky. He did not speak for a long time. The autumn cold was deep, and the autumn wind gently whistled. It was as if they were reluctant to part. Diwu Qingru stood motionless. After a long time, a long sigh was heard in the silent night. Diwu Qingru quietly said, "Brother, did you go?" The wind whimpered, but no words were spoken. Diwu Qingru slowly turned around. Behind him, there was a small table. The corners were worn out. It was made of ordinary wood, and it was obviously decades old. On the table, there were dishes and a pot of wine. 4 wine cups were placed in the north, south, east, and west directions. Diwu Qingru slowly sat down at the head of the table. He picked up the wine pot and poured himself a cup of wine. He looked at it for a long time and then put it down again. "I did not believe that you went." Diwu Qingru murmured, "Your identity and the resources you controlled were a huge fortune for both the enemy and me. As long as it was a hero who wanted to conquer the world, he would not easily kill you. That's why I've always believed that you've been imprisoned." Diwu Qingru shook his head and smiled bitterly. He raised his cup and drank without hesitation. As he raised his cup, a drop of water dripped from the corner of his eye and fell into the cup. Diwu Qingru closed his eyes and poured this cup of wine mixed with his own tears and sorrow into his stomach. His pale face flushed red due to the intense alcohol. He still did not open his eyes, but slightly lowered his head and softly said, "But I did not expect that the one who contended for hegemony with me in front of me was actually a hero." When he said the word hero, Diwu Qingru's voice was heavy and full of sarcasm. "Who is the master of the world? I am the hero in the heavens. I will slaughter millions of people, and the sea of blood will be my soldiers." Diwu Qingru murmured, "Second brother, this is a poem I wrote. I remember that you used to write a poem. Millions of corpses have yet to be formed, but I am a scholar clad in yellow sand. With a single glance, the word Kang is unified, and my ambition is the same as yours." Diwu Qingru sighed. "At that time, you said that the world's hegemony could only be achieved by an ambitious and ruthless person. A generation of ambitious and ruthless people plotted against heroes. The heroes had millions of soldiers under their command. The heavenly palace of 100 battles was reduced to white bones, rolling up the sky and plunging the earth into the king's chest. What you're saying is that heroes can be commanders and generals, but they can't be kings. A king must be an ambitious and ruthless person. An ambitious and ruthless person must be a hero, using schemes from the top and schemes from the bottom. Only then would he be able to fight 100 battles in the heavenly imperial court and turn the entire world into a painting of the king's heart. When you said those words back then, did you ever think that you would die in the hands of a hero?" Diwu Qingru chuckled. His smile was trembling, and his laughter was also trembling. He raised his wine cup and drained it in one gulp. Then, he quickly poured himself another cup of wine, and said in a trembling voice, "Second brother, you once said that you would get drunk with your elder brother on the day you succeed. Because in your entire life, you have never seen me truly drunk even once. Today, your elder brother will fulfill your wish." He raised his wine cup and saluted to the distant stars in the sky. Then, he turned his hand back and drained it in one gulp. "You always said that my life was too tiring, too hypocritical, and that I could not indulge myself and live happily for the rest of my life. Today, I will let go of everything and drink with you." The wind whispered, and the flowers and trees around gently swayed. It was as if the little brother of the past was talking to him about the world and pointing out the world. He was still singing and dancing, still young and frivolous. Diwu Qingru shook his head and chuckled, but tears fell from his eyes. In the dead of the night, this unparalleled hero finally stopped suppressing his true feelings in the face of the silence of the world. Xiong Cha. A soft voice came from behind him. Bu Chu, come, have a drink with us two brothers, Bu Chu said. Diwu Qingru did not turn around. He knew who was here at this time. Except for Han Bu Chu, anyone who came here at this time would die. Han Bu Chu slowly walked over, hugging a jar of wine. He smiled and said, Prime Minister, tonight I am here to drink with you. Good. Good. Diwu Qingru chuckled, sit. Bu Chu, many years ago, the four of us used this table to drink. Diwu Qingru pointed and said, at that time, you were very careful and controlled your drinking capacity. Every time you drank a cup, you used your fingernail to make a mark on the table. Haha, look, there is still your mark here. Prime Minister. Han Bu Chu's heart was moved. He looked down at the mark he made that day and could not help but feel warm. Prime Minister still has this table. The world of mortals is like a dream. Even if you wake up from a dream, you still have to leave a mark. Diwu Qingru said softly, do you remember? Number 1 was right across from you, and Yun He. Correct. At that time, you drank 8 cups, but you made a mark. Diwu Qingru chuckled as if he had returned to that day. Because of this, number 1 said that you were cheating. Ha ha. Han Bu Chu also laughed. His eyes gazed into the void as he reminisced. In a flash, more than 10 years have passed. The two were silent as they drank a few cups. Han Bu Chu clearly had something on his mind, but he did not dare to say it in front of Diwu Qingru. He could only accompany Diwu Qingru as they drank cup after cup. Time passed. Speak. Diwu Qingru lowered his head slightly and looked at Han Bu Chu. First. Prime Minister, this time, did King-level leader Kong's actions disrupt your plans? Han Bu Chu asked carefully. Kong Shang-xin was reckless, but it was also my mistake. I should not have let Kong Shang-xin go. Diwu Qingru sighed deeply. I considered his temper, his personality, his interests, and his position before sending Kong Shang-xin. However, I neglected the most important point, human nature. Human nature? Yes, human nature. Diwu Qingru sighed. Humans are not plants, how can they be emotionless? That year, Kong Shang-xin was chased down in lower 3 heavens and did not have any place to hide. He was riddled with scars and almost died when he came to lower 3 heavens. He was saved by brother Yin Wu Fa. Although he is usually steady, there is a kind of hot-blooded Jianghu spirit in his heart that is willing to die for his friends. Seeing Yin Wu Fa's miserable state, how could he remain indifferent? Human nature is a very strange thing. Under certain circumstances, a coward can become an indomitable warrior. A peerless hero can also become a coward. At a critical moment, a reckless man can calculate everything. A wise man can also lose his mind. Even a 3-year-old child could not compare to him. I only considered these things, but I missed the most important point. Diwu Qingru laughed and said, it was my thinking that was wrong. These years, I have been in high positions and high positions. I have become accustomed to thinking about things in terms of benefits and gains. This was my negligence. It was not Kong Shang-xin's mistake. This time, I did not use the right people. This was my biggest mistake. Diwu Qingru raised his wine cup and said softly, in the future, I will need to be more careful in this regard. Reflect on yourself 3 times. Prime Minister is truly a brave man. Han Bu Chu said. These words were not purely flattery. How many people like Diwu Qingru, who had a high position in history, could analyze themselves in such a profound manner, and admit their mistakes in front of their subordinates? Diwu Qingru's mind was worthy of his position. And he was completely calm. This kind of Diwu Qingru was the most frightening. Plus, Kong Shang-xin's actions proved one thing. Diwu Qingru said in a low voice, that is, number 1 is dead. Saying this, Diwu Qingru's eyes flashed with a bone-piercing pain. This pain caused him to close his eyes tightly. His heart throbbed with pain. Han Bu Chu was silent. Everyone was smart, There was no need to explain anything. Then, King-level leader Kong and Yoon he sent back information. Han Bu-chu wanted to say something but stopped. Diwu Qingru waved his hand and interrupted him. Diwu Qingru looked at his wine cup and said calmly, "Let's talk about King of Hell Chu." Han Bu-chu took a deep breath and said, "This person is really hard to say." "Ah, then let me say it." Diwu Qingru smiled. Bu-chu, this King of Hell Chu, from his actions, you can see that he is a once-in-a-millennium genius. He has your careful calculations, Yoon his calmness, and Gao Sheng's guts. Vaguely, he also has a little bit of a flawless plan. Han Bu-chu listened quietly. His favorite thing was to quietly listen to Diwu Qingru analyze a person, from their strengths and weaknesses to how to break through. In Han Bu-chu's eyes, this was a pleasure. King of Hell Chu first entered Du Shiqing's army and entered Ironcloud Cheng. Then, using Heavenly Armament Pavilion as a jumping point, he entered Bu Tian Pavilion in one fell swoop. From this point of view, even though King of Hell Chu is young, he is very careful. Every step has a clear goal. Every step is to attack other people's weak spots. Diwu Qingru obviously did not believe the rumor that King of Hell Chu was a king-level master. Let's talk about his first step first. Du Shiqing was taken advantage of by Chu Yang. This was because Du Shiqing had saved countless people and could not remember how many people he had saved. In this world, most people are ungrateful. Even though Du Shiqing was a doctor, he could not help but feel resentful. Now that he met someone who came to repay his kindness, Du Shiqing's heart was very happy and satisfied. This was easy to imagine. Plus, at that time, Du Shiqing did not go to Ironcloud willingly. It was his weakest moment. Therefore, when Chu Yang said that he wanted to repay his kindness, the first step of his plan was a perfect success. In this first step, Chu Yang used human nature. Diwu Qingru said deeply. Han Bu-chu gently nodded. In the second step, when Du Shiqing entered Ironcloud, anyone with a discerning eye could see that it was my plan. Therefore, Ironcloud's military sent people to kill Du Shiqing. Chu Yang completely resolved it and did not reveal the other party's identity. This is very important. You may think that this is just a normal thing, but you have overlooked the deeper meaning. Chapter 180. He left some leeway. You have to pay attention to the fact that he allowed the captured general to clash with Du Shiqing's men. But no matter what, he always protected him. This way, all the favors are on Chu Yang's shoulders. In the end, the general escaped. But, Chu Yang had also left behind an excellent foreshadowing for the military. If King of Hell Chu wants to use troops in the future, his first choice would be this troop. You have to know that this general is one of the top 10 generals of the continent, Wu Kuangyun. You have to pay special attention to this point. Send people to collect information about Wu Kuangyun's military habits. Travel day and night, and carefully analyze them. If there comes a day when the two armies face each other, and his military habits change drastically, then mobilize the army, and annihilate him at all cost. Because at that time, it will be King of Hell Chu leading the troops. Yes. Han Bu-chu wiped his sweat. Then enter the city. The third step is to establish Heavenly Armament Pavilion. Tai Long Cheng actually went there personally. Why? Is it really because of the two words Heavenly Armament? Diwu Qingru's eyes were deep. Tai Long Cheng went because Chu Yang left some leeway for the people who tried to kill Du Shiqing. Tai Long Cheng wanted to see the person who could single-handedly defeat Wu Kuangyun. That's all. After that, the fourth step is to enter Bu Tian Pavilion. Even though I don't know what happened, Tai Long Cheng and Du Shiqing's contributions cannot go unnoticed. Tai Long Cheng cherished talent, but he was also returning the favor. Because if the robbery incident were to be exposed, with Tai Bu Tian's temper, Ironcloud would definitely lose a general. And Du Shiqing, because of his appreciation, would have spared no effort to speak good words for Chu Yang in front of Tai Bu Tian. These are Chu Yang's first 4 steps. 4 steps to reach the heavens and play with human nature. Diwu Qingru said deeply, so far, King of Hell Chu's first goal has come to an end. So his second goal is Bu Tian Pavilion? No. His second goal is to clean up the place, Li Yarrow said. Diwu Qingru said, he first used a thunderous method to dig out all the spies we planted in Bu Tian Pavilion. His way of thinking relied on his meticulousness and reverse deduction. Everything had to be pushed forward from the results, and then find those things that most people would agree with and overturn them. Diwu Qingru chuckled, this is easy to say, but it is very difficult to do. That's right. When the Golden Horse Riders Department released spies all over the world, they used a method that was approved by the majority of the people. That was the only way to ensure the safety of the spies. King of Helchu's actions have hit their weak point, Han Biuchu pondered and said slowly. That's right. That's why after he cleaned up Bu Tian Pavilion, he used the blood of our people to establish his authority. It was also from then on that he began to act mysterious, wearing a black robe and a mask. Rumors began to spread. And these rumors were used to prevent the actions of King-level Master Kong and King-level Master Yin. In other words, this King of Hell Chu had already seen Ironcloud's weakness at that time. Moreover, he was clear-headed enough to make arrangements. Everything was done for the sake of his future high position and power, and at that time, you only saw a joke in your calculations. Because we all knew that Chu Yang was King of Hell Chu. No matter how much he tried to deceive us, it could not be changed. However, all of you have neglected the fact that under certain circumstances, this kind of unreal deception can turn the entire situation upside down, and the two King-level masters' actions were misled by these rumors. Bu Chu, when the two King-level masters left, did they really not know King of Hell Chu's identity? But when it came to it, why would they be suspicious? These are all traps and psychological warfare that King of Hell Chu has arranged in advance. I'm not afraid of you not being suspicious. But even if you have high intelligence, you will still be full of doubts after entering the trap. Even if you only have a little bit of doubt, King of Hell Chu can use the resources at hand to turn it into a full-blown doubt. Then, he will overturn his own conclusions. This person's scheming, his grasp of human nature, and his understanding of psychology are truly frightening. Diwu Qingru pointed out Chu Yang's arrangements bit by bit. The more he spoke, the more he felt that Chu Yang was a great threat. This was the first time he had seen someone like this. His voice became heavier and heavier. Han Benchu unconsciously straightened his body and listened attentively to Diwu Qingru's analysis. At the same time, he also began to reorganize Ironcloud's royal court. He started with a few minor officials. After confirming that his methods were correct, he began to act boldly and decisively the next day. He repeatedly waved his butcher's knife, but he did not make a move on number 1. He wanted us to inform number 1, Huyan Aobua is Feng Ling's little dog. After confirming that we had passed the message, King of Hell Chu took action and captured number 1 in one fell swoop. Then, he immediately used number 1's identity to set up a trap. These things were all linked together. He even accurately calculated number 1's self-confidence and wishful thinking, as well as our reaction. Diwu Qingru sighed deeply. If it were not for the conclusive information, even I would have suspected that the enemy thousands of miles away was a 17 or 18-year-old boy or a 100-year-old fox. Such precise control, such careful planning. Yes, even though we knew something had happened to number 1, we believed that number 1 would not say anything. Plus, King of Hell Chu did not make a move on number 1's network. This confirmed our suspicions. Therefore, no matter what, we would have fallen into this trap. Han Bu Chu also sighed. Even if King of Hell Chu did not know the relationship between number 1 and the Prime Minister, the arrangements he made were enough. Then, after he took control of number 1, he felt that he was stretched thin. This was because his strength was not enough to deal with our follow-up GGE. This matter was originally King of Hell Chu taking a risk. With his appetite, he would not be able to eat a big fish like Yin Wu Fa. But at this time, it just so happened that a great family from the upper 3 heavens arrived. This allowed King of Hell Chu to come back from death's door. He spared no effort in using this family to frame us again and again, using a super family that was completely in the dark. Without using his own strength, he was able to seriously injure 2 of our king-level leader. And now, King of Hell Chu's second plan has been completed. His second step, stratagem genesis, is the real deal. Qing Ru sighed deeply. Next, he will use all of his strength to surround and chop down king-level leaders Kong and Yin. I hope Yun he can hold on. Cyan. Han Bu Chu did not understand. Yes, Golden Horse Riders Department has 4 king-level leaders. Now, 2 of them are crippled. The remaining 2 need to maintain the entire Golden Horse Riders Department. They absolutely cannot go out. This way, King of Hell Chu can use this time to develop Bu Tian Pavilion and build Iron Cloud. Everything that King of Hell Chu has done is for the sake of this period of time. Diwu Qingru sighed. The reason he wants to buy time is because, at most, in 3 months, Taisha Cheng will not be able to hold on. At that time, Iron Cloud Nation will be in chaos. At this time, King of Hell Chu will continuously attack Golden Horse Riders Department. By the time Taisha Cheng dies, we will no longer be able to organize our strongest assassins to sabotage or do anything else. Even if our strength is weakened at that time, it will still be a great thing for Iron Cloud Nation. Not to mention such a great loss. Diwu Qingru said coldly, even though I do not want to admit it, I have to admit that King of Hell Chu has already won this time. Han Bu Chu was shocked. He had already placed King of Hell Chu in a very high position, but he still underestimated him. King of Hell Chu had been preparing for the next step by step. He had been advancing step by step. And he had been advancing step by step. And he had been preparing for the next step. He had been advancing step by step. And he had been making subtle changes in the entire situation. However, this is not enough. It is far from enough to shake the foundation of Golden Horse Riders Department. Therefore, King of Hell Chu will definitely have a backup plan. Diwu Qingru thought hard and said, the next step, King of Hell Chu's hand should be able to reach into Great Jiao. Before he makes a move, there is no way to predict what he will do. Prime Minister, does this King of Hell Chu not have any weaknesses? Han Bu Chu asked. Weaknesses? Although King of Hell Chu's intelligence is not bad, he has many weaknesses. Diwu Qingru said, his weakness is that he likes to surprise people. This kind of character loves to take risk. This kind of person will rise very quickly, but once he is defeated, he will be consigned to eternal damnation. There are only 2 kinds of consequences for a surprise attack. One is a complete victory, and the other is total annihilation. Diwu Qingru said slowly, to deal with this kind of person, you need to be patient. You only need to seize one opportunity, and that is enough. Also, although King of Hell Chu is called King of Hell, he is not a ruthless person who will do anything to achieve his goals. On the contrary, Tai Bu Tian is a hero, and this King of Hell Chu is also a hero. If not, then King of Hell Chu's position under Tai Bu Tian will certainly conflict. A hero can be under a ruthless person, but a ruthless person will not be willing to be under a hero. The so-called hero is a laughable title. Most of the so-called heroes value friendship. Diwu Qingru said slowly, a ruthless person is afraid of losing power, and a hero is afraid of being hurt. In the future, to deal with Tai Bu Tian and King of Hell Chu, you must strike on the 2 words friendship. This kind of person will certainly be defeated if his heart is hurt. I only need 1 chance. That's enough. Han Bu Chu muttered to himself. I'll start with the feelings. He was sensitive enough to feel something and thought hard. After Diwu Qingru's analysis, Han Bu Chu finally realized how terrifying King of Hell Chu was. So many ordinary people would think that these things were ordinary or even meaningless. But, King of Hell Chu had been preparing for a rainy day since a long time ago. Chapter 181. Diwu Qingru no longer spoke. He poured another cup of wine and slowly drank it. The crescent moon in the sky slowly moved to the west. The shadows of the trees in the pavilion also slowly moved. I will personally write a letter to Tai Bu Tian to bring back number 1's family. Diwu Qingru drank 5 cups of wine and suddenly said quietly, this. Tai Bu Tian may not agree. Han Bu Chu was shocked. Diwu Qingru personally writing a letter was a sign of his attitude. He was also delivering himself into Tai Bu Tian's hands and giving him a chance to humiliate him. Wouldn't this damage his prestige? Tai Bu Tian will agree. Diwu Qingru said casually, order Dong Wu Fa to attack at the fastest speed in the shortest amount of time. No matter the cost, take 2 of Iron Cloud cities. Open the gates of Iron Cloud. I will tell Tai Bu Tian that if he returns his family, Great Zhao will withdraw from these 2 cities. Han Bu Chu was shocked, but he did not dare to say anything. This was clearly a rash decision made by Diwu Qingru in a fit of rage. From this, it could be seen that number 1's death had a huge impact on him. This will be the last time in my life that I, Diwu Qingru, will act on impulse. Diwu Qingru looked up at the sky and said quietly, and number 1 is worth it. Han Bu Chu finally understood. In Diwu Qingru's life, the person he cared about the most was number 1. In other words, only number 1 could make Diwu Qingru lose control of his emotions. But number 1 was already dead. Therefore, Diwu Qingru used this decisive method to bid farewell to his former self. In one war, no matter how many people died or who died, in Diwu Qingru's heart, these people would be buried with his brothers. They would also be buried with Diwu Qingru for the past 10 years. From now on, Diwu Qingru would have no weaknesses. This impulse seemed to be a slight, but in reality, it was also a deterrent. Plus, Han Bu Chu believed that Diwu Qingru definitely had a backup plan. Yunhe staying in Iron Cloud Citadel is not a long-term plan. If the 2 king-level masters are found before they recover from their injuries, the consequences will be unimaginable. Diwu Qingru's eyes were already showing traces of drunkenness. But his mind was still very clear. He resolutely said, "A big battle will be my warning. This letter is my sincerity. When the time comes, Yunhe will openly escort number 1's family back to their country. Whoever dares to stop him will be destroyed." Han Bu Chu was drenched in cold sweat. Are number 1's family members real? Han Bu Chu could not understand why a person like number 1 would do something so stupid. Before number 1 went, he had already cut off all means of retreat. A trace of sadness appeared in Diwu Qingru's eyes. I will raise his descendants well. Han Bu Chu remained silent. No one would have thought of this, not even Chu Yang. Tang Xin Sheng's wife and children in Iron Cloud were actually his first wife, his children. This person was truly a lunatic. Iron Cloud Citadel had turned into a boiling pot of porridge. Everywhere, there was a hubbub like a market. It had to be said that the power of the masses was boundless, and the wisdom of the masses was also boundless. After Chu Yang gave the order, the 3 triad bosses gathered together to discuss. They came up with an extremely reliable plan. Iron Cloud Citadel would be divided into 5 areas: north, south, east, west, and west. Then they would take care of their own duties. They would herd all the outsiders into a large open space. Then official Cheng Ang would cooperate with the various government offices in the capital to investigate. After the investigation, they would gather all the people together. Those who were suspicious would be taken away. As a result, chaos broke out in the city. However, many spies were caught. Some of the spies who were mentally weak started rioting and were captured. These people were not strong and were afraid of death. Naturally, they did not keep their mouths shut. They began to follow the vines to find the melons. One by one, they began to catch them. In this process, they actually caught a silver horse rider. This was truly a cult. Iron Cloud Citadel's garrison troops, security forces, and Royal City's guards were all involved in this operation. In 2 days and 1 night, the search area had shrunk by half. Now, it was already midnight, but they were still working overtime. Especially the 10,000 hoodlums, they were yelling as if they had taken an aphrodisiac. They were full of vigor, even Cheng Ang's eyes were red from working so hard. The 3 triad bosses are still in high spirits. The situation is becoming more and more serious. If this continues, I am afraid that in less than a day, they will find us here. Cheng Yunhe frowned in his temporary hiding place and thought hard for a solution. Because of the Jade Spirit Ginseng, Yin Wu Fa had recovered 30% of his martial strength. Kong Shong Shin's martial strength had also recovered less than 30%. Facing this situation, the 2 of them were at their wits' end. If it was only the 2 of them, then it would be much easier. However, the problem was that there were 50 people. Under this kind of search, they were too big of a target. The only thing we can do now is to split up again. Cheng Yun, he said, everyone will split up again to avoid being surrounded. Even if we are caught, it will be because there are not enough people. Plus, there is not enough evidence. There will be a day when we will be released. That won't do. If we split up like that, won't we be like lambs waiting to be slaughtered? Yin Wu Fa said, in my opinion, it would be better to break out of the encirclement tonight. Break out. Cheng Yun, he coldly said, 200,000 soldiers are chasing us. This is Ironcloud's capital, the center of Ironcloud Nation. You want to force your way back to Great Zhao? We will do as official Cheng says. Kong Shong Xin said sullenly, breaking out of the encirclement is absolutely impossible. Even a level 1 emperor-level master would die of exhaustion in front of 200,000 soldiers. Not to mention us. Cheng Yun, he frowned and said, I'm easy to deal with. I'm a scholar and have no martial arts, so they won't suspect me. But the others, they are definitely the main suspects. If one of them loses his cool, then everything will be over, especially you two. Your appearances are too obvious. Plus, you have such a heavy injury. Once you are discovered, the situation will not be good. Cheng Yun, he said, if the two king-level masters do not mind, how about we hide in the leader's cellar? Kong Shong Xin and Yin Wu Fa rolled their eyes at the same time. Cheng Yun, his words were meant for the two of them to hear. It was only because of their status that these two people were the most likely to be unable to keep their composure. The two of them were king-level masters. How honorable were they? How could they hide in a cellar like rats? That was why he prepared ahead of time. We are only temporarily hiding from the wind. Cheng Yun, he said. That's good. Kong Shong Xin frowned. Sigh, we have been surrounded in upper three heavens for 7 or 8 years. We are used to it. Me too. In the past, to avoid assassination, I had to hide in a cesspool. Yin Wu Fa said angrily. Cheng Yun, he finally let out a sigh of relief. The place where they were hiding was the most important place for Tai Yun Cheng. It was not far from the royal palace. This was the so-called darkness under the lamp. Also, I have already thought of a way to let Jiao Wei Cheng influence Du Shiqing and create chaos. However, this is a bit risky. Jiao Wei Cheng might, but we can't do anything about it. Cheng Yun, he frowned as if he was talking to himself. Then, he stopped talking. Break up and evacuate immediately. If you can send a message, then do it once a day. If you can't, then don't force it. Safety first. Following Cheng Yun his order, the less than 10 people left behind to protect Yin Wu Fa and Kong Shong Xin. The rest of the people immediately scattered. These people were all experts. If they acted alone, it would be easy for them to escape from the encirclement of ordinary soldiers. It had to be said that with Cheng Yun his arrangement, as long as there were no accidents, the two king-level masters would not be discovered. They would be able to escape the search of Ironcloud Citadel. Even if there were losses, they would only lose a few people. The majority of their strength would still be intact. Yu Yun was a martial artist in his 20s. He had wanted to join Bu Tian Pavilion for a long time. However, his cultivation was too low, and he was eliminated at the first checkpoint. In a depressed mood, he did not participate in this search. Instead, he drank until he was drunk. Then, without knowing what time it was, he walked out of the tavern. He only felt that he was drunk and did not care where he was. He found a soft place and lay down, snoring loudly. While sleeping soundly, he was suddenly woken up by the urge to pee. He lay there in a daze. With his eyes closed, he took out his weapon and began to pee. After half of his stock was gone, he felt a bit more awake. He opened his eyes and saw that he had fallen asleep on a small pile of firewood. Looking here, it seemed to be firewood left in front of someone's house. After the alcohol subsided, he felt the autumn wind was cold and shivered. He peed on his pants and could not help but curse. He used his fingers to stop the pee and was about to stand up to continue. Suddenly his vision blurred and with a soo sound, a shadow flashed over his head and the three of them were sent flying. Then, as if a flock of crows had been startled, one by one, The black-clothed people flew out of the courtyard he was leaning on. Yu Yun's entire body froze. He opened his mouth and was about to scream, but he quickly recovered and covered his mouth. However, he forgot that he had to stop himself from peeing. As soon as he removed his hand, he began to pee again. He did not waste a single bit of his pee and peed on his pants. He did not even realize it. The hidden boat also heard the last two people whispering. "The king-level leader is here." "No, silence," the other person hastily shouted. Then, he flew away from the top of his head. Yu Yun's hair stood on end. He immediately thought of the city's manhunt these past few days. Could it be these people? Listening to their words, it seems like there are people here. Yu Yun's eyes suddenly flashed. He stood up quietly. The firewood behind him rustled. He quickly pinched his nose and meowed like a cat. Then, he sneakily left. Chapter 182. Ever since Mo Qingwu left, Minister Chu devoted himself to his work and cultivation. Now was a crucial time, so he decided to stay at Bu Tian Pavilion. During this period of time, Ji Mo was bored out of his mind. Among the 5 people in Heavenly Armament Pavilion, Dong Wushong was his enemy, Rui Biu Tong and Jiu Duxing were his best friends, and Luo Kudi was the one who was being bullied. Therefore, Luo Kudi kept pestering Ji Mo and insisted on forming an alliance. However, Ji Mo was not Jiu Duxing's opponent. He helped Luo Kudi fight twice and was beaten black and blue by Jiu Duxing. Then, he was pestered by Luo Kudi, so he decided to follow Chu Yang to Bu Tian Pavilion to gain experience. Ji Mo thought, "Motherfucker, I can't afford to offend him, but can't I hide?" Heaven Mending Pavilion was brightly lit. Martial revered and martial great masters came and went in a hurry. The martial masters and martial artists all became errand boys. Every one of them increased their speed and did not stop for even half a second. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the door. Cheng Ang, who had just returned and was about to go out, angrily said, "What happened?" "There is a guy who said he found the whereabouts of the spies." The guard at the door stammered. He didn't believe that this unkempt and unkempt man would know the whereabouts of the people of the Golden Horse Riders Department. Moreover, this guy had shamelessly boasted that he wanted to see Minister Chu. He had been scolding him in a bad mood. But, this guy swore to the heavens that he was Minister Chu. He was so angry that he wanted to kick him. But, Great Hall Master Cheng had arrived at this critical moment. "Let him in," Cheng Ang said angrily. "Why didn't you bring him in when you found a clue? What are you doing?" The guard withdrew his mouth and waved his hand. Another guard carried in a completely drenched fellow. Cheng Ang suddenly smelled urine. He pinched his nose and said angrily, "What is going on? This little guy is peeing." The guard pinched his nose. He wanted to laugh but did not dare to. "Motherfucker! He is so young and he can't do it." Cheng Ang looked at him and said irritably, "Throw him out." "Motherfucker! Hold on, let him talk. It won't waste much of the University of Technology's resources." A cold voice sounded. It was King of Hell Chu who was wearing a mask. Since yesterday, the people of Bu Tian Pavilion could clearly feel that the minister's aura was a lot colder than it had been a while ago. His authority was even greater. You are Minister Chu." "Official Chu?" Yu Yun anxiously shouted. "I really have a secret." Chu Yang listened patiently. Then, his eyes lit up as he asked, "Are you sure that you're not drunk?" "I'm an orphan and have nothing to vouch for." "I'll vouch for it with the lives of my wife and mother-in-law. I'm absolutely not seeing things." Yu Yun was anxious. He raised his hand and swore to the heavens. His saliva splattered everywhere. "If I'm lying, may the heavens protect my wife from running away with someone else. Can we still find that place?" Chu Yang's eyes flashed. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this guy. He really knows how to swear. It's an easy place to find. It seems to be the mansion of one of the officials who was executed not long ago. Yu Yun was overjoyed. He knew that since the other party asked, he must want to go and take a look. "Oh!" Chu Yang and Cheng Ang looked at each other and saw the regret in each other's eyes. The mansions of these officials had just been confiscated and had not been sealed yet. Additionally, so many people had just died in those mansions. Therefore, they were afraid of selling them. Therefore, they couldn't sell them. Now, they were the most secretive places. Gather all the men. We'll go now. Minister Chu made a prompt decision. All martial masters and above, go. Also, inform the guards of the capital to seal off the direction of the inner city. Tell them that not even a bug can get out of here. If anyone tries to break out, no matter who they are, kill them without mercy. Wait for them to complete the encirclement. Experts, move out immediately. Don't alert the enemy. Send people to the capital and borrow some experts. Move out immediately. Immediately, the entire Bu Tian pavilion exploded into chaos. More than 200 people immediately stood in front of King of Hell Chu. Chu Yang really did not expect that the hiding place of a king-level master would be discovered by such a wretched person. But now, he did not have the time to sigh. He would rather believe it than not. As for the shock, well, it was actually unnecessary worry. Now that the enemy was in chaos, the enemy could not be more alarmed. Even if they were alarmed, that was it. Moreover, Chu Yang felt that this information was definitely not fake. Not long after, a firework rocket shot into the sky from the center of the city and exploded. Chu Yang looked at the fireworks in the sky. His eyes turned cold. He waved his hand and said, "Let's go." This firework proved that the area had been firmly surrounded like an iron spike. "Boss Chu, I will go too." Jimo jumped out. "You?" Chu Yang was a bit hesitant. If Jimo went, it would be fine if nothing happened. If something happened, the Ji clan's anger would not be a joke. "Don't worry." Jimo smiled and winked. "I will give you a small nursery. Good. Let's go." After half an hour, Chu Yang's group arrived in front of the gate. They hid in the distance and asked, "Are you sure this is the place?" Yu Yun's face was pale. He was so nervous that he was breathing rapidly. He spat, "I swear to the heavens. This is the place." Then he begged, "Minister, if we really catch the spy, can you let me join Bu Tian Pavilion?" "What is your name?" Chu Yang asked. Chu Yang had already changed his ferocious mask to a veil. If he still wore a mask, it would be tantamount to giving the enemy a target. I am called Yu Zun." Yu Yun used his fingers to pull at his pants. The weather was cold now. Peeing on his body was really too uncomfortable. "Yu Yun, your luck is really good." Chu Yang almost laughed. This guy was really lucky. His pee actually splashed 2 king-level masters. He said, "If today's operation is successful, you can go to Heavenly Secret Hall and report to Hall Leader Chen." "Thank you, Minister." Yu Yun knelt down excitedly and kowtowed. I hope you can always be so lucky." "That is also Bu Tian Pavilion's luck." Chu Yang smiled. On the side, Chengeng whispered, "Minister, is it okay?" "Wait a little longer." Chu Yang looked at the gate from 300 feet away. He was also very nervous. Tai Bu Tian's reinforcements had not arrived yet. Chu Yang was a little impatient. If they were discovered by the enemy, they would lose the initiative. Chu Yang was a little puzzled. Tai Bu Tian could not have dropped the ball at this time. What was going on? After waiting a little longer, Chu Yang finally gritted his teeth and said, "How many layers of archers are there now?" 3 layers of cover. They are all made of iron, and their arrows are made of pure steel. Add more layers of cover in all directions. Chu Yang said fiercely, "Increase the cover in the air to 18 layers. We can't let any of them escape." "Yes." "Once the setup is complete, immediately begin the operation." "Yes." Silently, the 3,000 archers in the army were redeployed, adding another layer of insurance on top of the 1,000 archers they already had. "I still feel that something is not right, boss. Are you sure that there are enemies here just based on this little one's words?" Ji Mo did not understand and said, "Aren't you a little gullible?" "Intuition." Chu Yang said casually, "In all of Iron Cloud Citadel, there are very few places that have not been searched. Only this place could hide so many people at once without being discovered. I still feel a little uncertain. I will go and take a look." Jimo's voice had just fallen when he jumped out from his hiding place. Chu Yang could not stop him and he was already 50 feet away. Under the night sky, Jimo's body seemed to turn into a phantom. He floated over 100 feet and then stopped for a moment. Leaving behind a series of afterimages, he was already in front of the gate. Jimo was not suspicious. He just wanted to show off his skills in front of Chu Yang. During this time, he was unbearably idle. Plus, he felt that he had improved a lot. Plus, he was still young. In the next moment, he was about to jump over the wall. At this moment, the gate suddenly opened with a creak. A man in black suddenly appeared in front of Jimo. In a split second, the two looked at each other and were both stunned. Chu Yang, who was 30 feet away, immediately cursed in his heart. Who is it? The man in black took a step back and asked cautiously. RDAE? Ditch intent mud. Tired of doggy mud? Jimo was tongue-tied. This was absolutely unexpected. Who would have thought that just as he was about to jump over the wall, this guy would open the door and come out? He suddenly had an idea and opened his mouth to say something strange. What? The black-clothed man was at a loss. RDAE Gu Wu? Tired of tears? Ruffian Gu Wu? Enemy martial arts? Jimo's eyes rolled around. His tongue rolled around in his mouth. Enemy Wu Chu? The man in black blinked pitifully. He only understood the last two words. Enemy martial arts. Enemy martial arts. Jimo nodded repeatedly. Please vomit. RDAE? Ditch intent mud. Enemy martial arts. Please vomit. Enemy martial arts. Diwu Qingru? The man in black looked at this alien in distress. He was so anxious that his face was sweating. Who are you? Honey 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 honey. Lulu Dae? Tired of doggy mud? Jimo's face was very anxious. He kept making threatening gestures. What do you mean by tired of talking? The pitiful man in black was unexpectedly led into a ditch. His tone of voice also unknowingly changed. Dog aunt. Dog aunt. Jimo was very angry. He turned around and left. He muttered, Dog aunt sa dae, dog aunt ditch intent mud. Humph. The man in black stood there in a daze. He thought about the meaning of these strange words. Suddenly, he woke up and shouted, Pig Slayer, stop. Poor guy. Jimo made him unable to speak. Chapter 183. The man in black immediately knew that he was about to be killed. He roared and chased after Chu Yang. Chu Yang held back his laughter and gave the order, kill, xiu xiu xiu. The sound of something breaking through the air was heard. The man in black who had just jumped up suddenly turned into a hedgehog in midair. From all directions and above, there were at least hundreds of iron arrows that pierced into his body at the same time. A firework shot into the sky. From all directions, there was a loud roar, kill. The entire night sky seemed to tremble violently. Hundreds of people leaped into the air at the same time from all directions, rushing towards the house. Behind them, there was a dense army that was slowly moving forward. Everywhere they went, there was no obstruction. The walls and the houses were all knocked down. In the blink of an eye, the house had become an isolated island. All around, there were soldiers with unsheathed swords and narked arrows. They were all motionless. Inside the house, there was the sound of killing. The sound of swords and spears colliding was heard. Then, with a loud boom, the four walls of the house were all knocked down. Like a forest, they were invincible. The operation this time was truly thunderous. Not long after Kong Shong Xin and Yin Wu Fa hid in the secret room, only a few people were left on guard. Then, they suddenly heard an earth-shattering sound. Countless soldiers rushed into the house. They were exposed. Why were they exposed? It could be said that everyone had been hiding here for 3 times before finally choosing such a foolproof place. How could it be discovered so quickly? The 2 king-level leaders were shocked. This was the first time in their lives that they were panicking. Right now, most of the people were scattered. This was the time when they were at their weakest. How could the enemy just happen to attack at this time? Then, there was the sound of fierce fighting. The The 5 martial great masters and 3 revered martial artists outside were already fighting with the enemy. Kong Shang-shin was pacing back and forth in the secret room, full of worry. Next to him, Yin Wu Fa, who had just regained some color, was also there. The two of them paid close attention to the movements outside. Neither of them said a word. They had a vague feeling that something bad was about to happen this time. "Don't worry, Your Highness," he said. "After Lord Wang's estate was raided, I secretly began to make preparations. I didn't touch anything in the mansion at all. I dug it up from the ground and sealed it. This secret chamber was located 30 feet underground, and its location was extremely well hidden. There was no entrance at all. Even if King of Hell Chu has the ability to reach the heavens, he won't be able to find us here," the commander of the Iron Horse Riders said respectfully. He was the one who developed this place. Even Cheng Yun and Kuei, he praised him for his ingenuity in this operation. "I hope so." Kong Shang-shin heard the sounds of fighting above and sighed. "I'm afraid the 8 brothers above are finished. To die for the throne, I have no regret," the Iron Horse cavalry commander said solemnly. Once the courtyard was pushed down, the 8 people inside were like exploding grenades, flying out from 8 different directions to break out of the siege. However, the dense rain of arrows that fell from the sky made them suffer. They thought that it was only a small search party. Who would have thought that there were tens of thousands of soldiers lying in ambush outside? They directly sealed off the entire area. After 1 round of arrow rain, 3 people were injured. Then, the ironclad experts lying in ambush swarmed up and fought. Chu Yang's black robe fluttered in the wind as he stood on a branch of a big tree. He looked at the turbulent fighting inside and couldn't tell the difference between the enemy and his own people. He could only see that there was a crazy battle going on inside. It was like a tide rushing out, spreading out, and then being pushed back by the outside. There were a total of 8 battle circles like this. After a short while, there were only 5 left. Then, 2 more circles ended the battle. There were only 3 circles left. There were constantly soldiers covered in blood being carried out of the crowd and immediately sent away. If they were not vomiting blood, then they were missing arms or legs. In this encirclement, there were people constantly falling down and being trampled into chaos. There were roars and shouts coming from inside, overlapping each other. Although there were only 3 enemies left, the fierceness of these 3 people was beyond anyone's expectations. Before the operation, Chu Yang had said, "Try your best to capture them alive." But looking at the fierce battle in front of them, everyone knew that it was basically impossible to capture such an enemy alive. Even keeping their corpses intact would be a luxury. The battle lasted for less than a quarter of an hour, but the ironclad side paid the price of 50 people's lives. Nearly 100 people were injured. The one who was injured the furthest was 50 feet away. That revered martial artist was able to fight his way out 50 feet before he was heavily surrounded by the army and died in anger. One person's strength is great, but in the end, he can't fight against an army, Jimo said with a sigh. Jiang Hu is Jiang Hu, and the army is the army. Chu Yang said, if the army was also Jiang Hu, then these experts could definitely break out of the encirclement. But the army isn't. Therefore, even an emperor-level expert would die if he fell into such a tight encirclement. Jimo nodded and said, yes, the porridge is clear and the scale is clear. First, 6. Although Jiang Hu people are fugitives, they know how to seek good fortune and avoid disaster to protect their own lives. Chu Yang said, but the army doesn't have their own preferences, they only have orders. They only have military orders. Once an order is given, they can only move forward, they can't retreat. Because if they retreat, they will immediately die at the hands of their own people's law enforcement team. This is the so-called military order is like a landslide. Jimo said with a sigh, however, this is really too cruel for these ordinary soldiers. It is cruel, but the cruelty of war is also the mission of the army. Chu Yang sighed deeply. Where's the messenger? Jimo let out a long sigh. Jimo, you almost ruined our big plan. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Chu Yang looked at him coldly and said, you're lucky that you didn't get shot to death by your own people's arrows. If you act without discipline like this again, you will be responsible for the consequences. Jimo rubbed his head and smiled bitterly. He knew that he was in the wrong, so he didn't dare to say anything. What did you mean by what you said to that guy? Why didn't I understand? Chu Yang asked. Chu Yang considered himself to be very knowledgeable. His previous life was rich enough. But he couldn't understand Jimo's words. This made Minister Chu very puzzled. From beginning to end, Chu Yang only understood the words enemy and vomit. As for the rest, he could only express his lack of knowledge in shame. What's the point of that? Jimo laughed hollowly and said, I was quick-witted. I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't expect that guy to be confused. Phut. Chu Yang choked. He smiled bitterly and said, I'm afraid that anyone's first reaction would be the same when they suddenly meet someone who talks like that. You're really good. Minister Chu had nothing to say about this guy. Minister, the 8 enemy bandits have been killed. An officer who was besieging the enemy trotted over. He straightened his body and saluted. There was an eye-catching wound on his head. Blood was flowing down, but his face was cold and stiff. His eyes were cold and sharp. Good. Immediately check the casualties. There is no need to report this to the military. Just report it to Bu Tian Pavilion. Chu Yang solemnly returned the salute. Yes. On behalf of my brothers, I thank the minister. The officer's eyes were filled with joy. Reporting to the military headquarters and waiting for the gold and silver to arrive would be a long process. Moreover, they would only be able to receive the same amount as those who died in battle. However, reporting to Bu Tian Pavilion would allow the families of these fallen brothers to receive several times the compensation from the military headquarters. Since Minister Chu said so, he naturally had a plan. Cheng Ang wiped away his sweat. His face was pale as he walked over. Minister, 3 revered martial artists, and 5 great masters. None of them were caught. Hall leader Cheng's injuries were not light. There were several bloody wounds on his body. He walked with a limp. You found out. Only these few people. The highest was a revered martial artist. Chu Yang frowned. Yes. And only a 5th-level revered martial artist. When Cheng Ang said this, he couldn't help but sweat. During this time, he was on the verge of breaking through. Plus, under the pressure of King Chu, he was able to break through to 3rd-level revered martial artist. Now he was saying that the other party was only a 5th-level revered martial artist. The other party was 2 levels higher than him. Is there no one else? Chu Yang frowned. The battlefield has been cleaned up. Every place has been searched. Cheng Ang said, there are no other traces. What about the secret room? Chu Yang asked. There is no secret room. Cheng Ang said, this subordinate has found many experts in mechanism studies and searched the place thoroughly, but there are no traces of a secret room. Plus, this house was originally an official's home. Aside from a few cellars, there are no other secret rooms. That's not right. What Chu Yang was thinking was that when Yu Yun had reported back then, he had said the words of the black-robed man. The king level is here. No, this was not something that could be made up by Du Qiong. Now that there were so many revered martial artists and great martial artists from Golden Horse Riders Department, it proved that this information was true. It was impossible that there was no one here. If even a mouse could not get out of the encirclement, then it was certain that there was someone in this house, and it was a king-level master. If they couldn't find him, then there must be a problem. Don't withdraw yet. Chu Yang pondered. His eyes slowly emitted a ruthless light. He said, maintain a tight seal. Then, send people to bring water. Fill the entire house with water. Even if they turn into mice and burrow into the ground, I will make sure they come out. Yes. Cheng Ang was a little unhappy. We have already confirmed that there is no secret room. Even if you use water, what's the use? It will only be a waste of manpower. But how can we not obey the minister's orders? Turn around. He gave a series of orders. Immediately, his friends started to move. General Li, please send some soldiers to help. We need to finish this as soon as possible. Chu Yang looked at the young general and said, no problem. General Li saluted and turned around. Third camp, listen to my orders. Go and bring water. Chapter 184. Torches. Illuminate this place. Archers, don't slack off. Gunmen, get ready. 10 layers of blockades. Chu Yang ordered, block here, 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 and here. Don't let the water flow away. Boss, even if there are people inside, can't we wait for the concubines to arrive? Now, isn't it too hasty? Jimo frowned and asked. If there are people inside, they are king-level masters. Chu Yang said lightly, plus, they are already injured. King-level masters recover very quickly. You know this. After tonight, even if the king-level masters recover a little bit of fighting power, we will lose a few more soldiers. With such losses, even if one more person dies, it will be a dereliction of duty on the commander's part. Chu Yang said, we can't give the enemy any chance to breathe. Even the slightest respite could lead to an irreparable disaster. Jimo said, oh. He looked at Chu Yang deeply and said, I see. But he thought in his heart, he can think of ordinary soldiers to this extent. How can he be wrong to his own brothers? While he was thinking, someone quickly carried a big bucket of water and poured it on the ground. Then, a lot of people ran over with basins and buckets in their hands. Even though there were many people, there were not enough tools. It seemed that they would need to continue for a while to achieve their goal. At this time, 40 to 50 people quickly piled up soil and built a trench on the road. Then, a stream of water flowed over from there. It turned out that there was a well and a donkey over there. So, those who were near kept flowing over here. Those who were far away carried water over. People shouted and horses neighed. It was very lively. Gradually, more and more people started to get their hands on tools. There was even a guy who found a large iron bucket that was used to feed the horses in the army. He used a single-wheeled carriage to bring the bucket over. This thing was even more addictive. It was enough for a family to have 50 buckets of water. Several commanders jumped up and down. They shouted with fierce faces, quick, faster, faster. As time went by, the official's mansion gradually became a pool of water. As for the original cellars, they were filled to the brim at the very first moment. There was strength in numbers. Some carried the water, some shook the donkey with all their might, and some did their best to fill in the gaps. Even further away, several people carried the water in relays. The 20 water wells nearby were all taken over by the army in a short time. Water was slowly accumulating in this courtyard. The courtyard that was tens of acres of land was actually covered in water so deep that it didn't even reach their feet. Countless soldiers were quietly watching. Archers, snipers, spear throwers, knife throwers, all of them were ready for battle. The soldiers gripped their weapons tightly, their eyes sparkling. Down below, Kong Shong Shin, Yin Wu Fa, and the others, a total of 8 people, were anxiously stomping their feet in the secret chamber. When they heard that there was no movement outside, they thought that the army had retreated. Before they could breathe a sigh of relief, they heard people shouting and horses neighing outside. Due to the distance, they couldn't hear what was being said. They could only vaguely hear someone shouting, hurry, hurry, hurry. A bad feeling rose in everyone's heart at the same time. What is the enemy doing? Not long after, the air in the secret chamber slowly became moist. It seemed that the temperature had dropped. Kong Shong Shin frowned as if he had thought of something. His face became colder and colder. After a while, the ceiling of the secret chamber was slowly seeping in. Water. Water is seeping in. Yin Wu Fa's eyes widened when he saw this. Everyone's expression changed. They finally realized that King of Hell Chu's plan was to drown them. This was extremely bad news for Juju and the others. Although there was no exit, they were underground. With such a large space, as long as there was water above, sooner or later, it would seep in. Or, the whole place would collapse. Even if they didn't drown, they would suffocate to death. Looking at the water droplets dripping down from the ceiling, they slowly formed a line. Slowly, the soil began to fall down piece by piece. The 2 king-level leaders were dumbstruck. The current situation could be said to be extremely bad. If they went out, they would be besieged by a large army. Although they did not know how many people there were, from the sounds coming from above, they knew that the number was not small. The two were seriously injured and did not have the confidence to break out of the encirclement. However, if they stayed here and did not move, they would silently become corpses. It was difficult to advance and difficult to retreat. A large piece of soil fell from above their heads. The water under their feet had already covered their shoes. The two king-level leaders wanted to cry but had no tears. King of Helchu, aren't you too cruel? How did you come up with such a desperate plan? King-level leader, you must make a decision immediately. This place is about to collapse, a revered martial artist anxiously said. Almost before he finished speaking, large pieces of soil began to fall from above their heads. Kong Shong Shin roared with grief and indignation. His eyes were red as he shouted, "Rush out." As soon as these three words came out, the three revered martial artists, two martial great masters, and one iron horse rider all showed a tragic expression. Everyone knew what it meant to rush out at this time, especially since the two king-level leaders had not recovered. There was no hope at all. The enemy was using a sea of people tactic. They did not even need to send out masters. Just ordinary soldiers would be enough to kill them. If they went out, they could only die in battle. If they stayed, they could only drown. If they died in battle, they could still get some benefits. If they drowned, that would be too unjust. Brothers, before we rush out, I have a few words to say. Kong Shong Shin tried his best to straighten his body. His eyes flashed with a cold light under the water. The others all stood ramrod straight and listened quietly. This time, the situation is dangerous. Even I, Kong, do not have the confidence to escape. Therefore, this battle may be the last time we brothers will fight together. Kong Shong Shin's fierce eyes flashed with an inexplicable warmth at this moment. He looked at his subordinates one by one and said in a low voice, "This time, I, Kong Shong Shin, have implicated everyone. The cause of all this is because I acted without permission. This has led to an immeasurably serious consequence. I have also implicated my brothers and put them in a desperate situation. King-level leader, why do you say this? If everyone works together, even if we die, we will die together. We are all people of Jianghu. We have already accepted life and death. It is just this matter. Thank you for your understanding. If there is a next life, I, Kong Shong Shin, hope that with my brothers, we can travel through Jianghu and dominate the world. We will use all of our strength to unify the world." Kong Shong Shin's voice was heavy. This sad saber king seemed to have a premonition of the final destination of his life. Every word was filled with all of his emotions. It was as if they were being pulled out from his heart. "Second brother, we might still have a chance. Why do you have to be so pessimistic?" Yin Wu Fa felt as if his chest was about to explode. He glared and angrily said, "Listen to me." Kong Shong Shin smiled and walked in front of Yin Wu Fa. He gently patted his shoulder and said, "Third brother, if we can return to Great Jiao, don't talk about revenge so easily." Finished speaking, he turned his head and bowed deeply toward his subordinates. "King-level leader, what are you doing?" The only surviving command horse rider fell to his knees. His tears fell like rain. "At most, we brothers will die together. King-level leader, there is no need, there is no need." His voice choked and he could not continue. "No. The three of you have a big chance. You are not injured, you can definitely escape." Kong Shong Shin seriously said, "I only ask you, if possible, please save my third brother." Yin Wu Fa angrily yelled, "Second brother, if you don't leave, how can I leave? When we became sworn brothers, we said that we would rather die together than live together. Do you want me to be a heartless person? When the time comes, we will all die together. Of course, if we must die, we brothers will die together." Kong Shong Shin looked at Yin Wu Fa emotionally. He silently said in his heart, "Third brother, you saved my life. Today, even if I die, I will let you leave safely." He did not say anything else. He quietly looked at his remaining brothers. After a long time, he said, "Remember what I said." As he said these words, his eyes were fixed on the command horse rider. He solemnly said, "Old Sa, after so many years, this is my last order. It is also my last request in this life. The command horse rider kneeled on the ground. His whole body trembled. His tears fell like rain as he repeatedly nodded. Kong Shong Shin looked at Yin Wu Fa with nostalgia and softly said, "Brothers, I really want to ride together with you in Jianghu." These words were almost inaudible. With that, he turned around and strode out. He did not look back. "Charge out!" Yin Wu Fa angrily roared. He secretly pulled the command horse rider and whispered, "Old Sa, if I can't do it, you must pull the second king-level leader out. Please." Then, he did not wait for the old Sa to reply. He straightened his body and followed behind Kong Shong Shin step by step. The old Sa was stunned. At this critical moment of life and death, the two king-level leaders, who were known for their coldness and ruthlessness, used their own actions to express the word brother. "I can sacrifice myself, but my brothers must live." On the ground, muddy water splashed everywhere. Kong Shong Shin and Yin Wu Fa, both with their thin bodies, walked in the dark secret room. However, their broad shoulders seemed to be carrying the entire earth for each other. A fierce aura was slowly emitted from the two of them. Slowly, like a tsunami, it surged through the narrow passageway of the secret chamber. Above, mud fell like rain. On the ground, the water had already reached the knees. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.